You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yours truly on Friday night, Kate of Gaia, broadcasting from an undisclosed location somewhere in the universe. Isn't that fun? Yeah, well, lots of fun, interesting feedback from last night, and all good. You know, this is part and parcel to the entire awakening program that most of humanity is still wallowing in as they slowly come to out of this anesthetic delusion called physical reality. Caught up in the dramas and whatnot and everything else. And, I just had Joe on the board there. I see on the board there, Ouija. I am waiting also for T, who called me on the phone earlier today. Now that I know which number she has, she just has had a hard time trying to hit one on. I don't know what it is with these iPhones and whatever else. I don't play in that game. I've got an older BlackBerry, 2008. It's a phone. So, sorry, call me old school. A phone is what I use it for. Isn't that funny, texting and calling people? There's Joe back. Anyway, before we get rolling tonight, in similar, if not stronger fashion than last night, you see, over the last little while, actually a very long while, but I've been coalescing my own things in my own reality, as, you know, looking over the experience, which is what the, quote, Christ consciousness, unquote, is all about anyway. You know, people get caught up in the dramas of the emotions and all the rest of it that take an experience to a whole new level of insanity. Instead of just being of and in the experience, they just get caught in the... I know, I was there. And it's so easy. This world is such a literal mind trap. You know, the vast majority of humanity doesn't realize that walking around with a legal name has them owned lock, stock, and barrel on the soul level, not just the physical. You know, if you agree with something, you're in contract with it. I don't care what it is. If you agree to be part of something, then are you not part of something? And that contract must be broken within self. And that only comes with a bit of diligence, a bit of research, a bit of understanding, and a willingness to realize that you've had your brains duped to such an extreme level. And of course, people will, you know, fight me kicking and screaming. And ironically, as it turns out, it was the ones that were closest in my life, the family and the supposed friends and all of the people that would always turn to me when they needed something because, well, gosh darn, they could count on me. But I got to tell you, as soon as the physical reality started to melt away and I started seeing what was really going on, the control mechanisms that are in place that has you being vampired and werewolved by the vampires of the elite and their dogs, call it military, cops, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. They're all fucking dogs anyway. Woof, woof, go fetch. There you go. Well, what do you expect a dog to do? It chases cars. Fuck. You know? Difference is these dogs have to catch the car and then get you aided and abetted through the Narmer palette called the Flip the Book Open, which is a spell casting book. These people don't understand this. This is the highest order of black magic. This is exactly what the elites have been in control of, the no-lights, for so very long. You see, they understand the power of the darkness because that's where the void of creation exists. And they've just been very, very good at manipulating that energy and duping people into the Luciferian light, you know, which is just a higher frequency of sound. Remember, light and sound, you know, the FX are the effect. That's why they're called FX. FX. Those are the effects of cause, not the creation of it. You know, it's like screaming at the TV screen or the movie screen expecting something to change. You know, watch the same movie over and over again and keep screaming at it and see if, you know, you get a different director's cut, or is it still the same movie? Well, I tell you, it is the same movie, but as you awaken, you start seeing the real movies that are going on in behind this in a fractal sense. These are the things that you need to look deeper into. And we have been befuddled, we have been hypnotized, anesthetized, dumbed down, and we buy it. We buy it in the most literal sense. I had a great chat earlier today with Jason. It was about an hour and a half or more, and I mean, I could talk with Jason for hours on end. You know, and there are a few people out there that I can do that with. And that being said, it's not because of anything other than communicating in the same format, in the same way, with the same intention, where it's less needs to be said because it's already resonating. You know, it's basically a game of table tennis. Here's your thought, and I got your concept, and let me share what I got, and it's, oh yeah, okay, then the ball comes back, and it goes back and forth like this constantly. And it's an evolutionary process. It's not, you're not fighting through all the nonsense, you know. Like I'll go through the fear porn stuff on Before It's News and whatever, and I transmogrify it, I change it, I transmute it. I take the literal intent and recode it into my definition, my sounds, because I know the core essence of me is the silence. That is the dark. You know, in the beginning, God created light. You know, let's go with the allegory, shall we? Okay, if God created light, where the hell did that come from? Oh, wait a minute. That's right. The dark. Silence of sound. The clearness of the reality, you know. So, anyway, I more or less finished that little piece that I was working on that I'll be sending to friends and family. I guess you would pretty much call this a last will and testament of the physical realm, because I got to tell you, and I will be sending the link for this show to them as well, so that they can actually hear my voice and they will actually understand. You see, because whether they listen to it or not, it's fucking irrelevant to me, you know. You can see my ex-wife cringing. Oh, no, she said fuck again. Yeah, because I know what it means, dopey. Fa, the heart note. U, of intent. C, of unconditional love. The note of. In spirit, ka, F-U-C-K. But you have charge on the word because you were indoctrinated into it, like we all were. It's like I said, I think I said it last night. I can always tell when that charge hasn't been alleviated within an individual, because I can still feel that word. You know, there's many that can say it, and yeah, they get it. It goes right through. And then there's others that say it that kind of go, oh, you can still feel that. So for me, this is an energy game. You know, where people get caught up in the whole myriad of meat stick physical, or as Jason calls them, meat suits, which is great too. I love that one. You're missing the most obvious. You know, again, let's go back to the funeral concept. When you see a dead body lying in a coffin, how much life is in it? Is it up dancing around, or, oh, wait a minute, the life has left it? That's right. Everything in the physical realm is dead. The only thing that gives it life is you. Just like a car. A car's not going to go until you take that physical meat suit, go into it, sit down, turn the key on. And that's the realm of the whores of Babylon. That's the realm that the dogs live in, that the vampires live in. It's the only reality they have. They can't create shit. That's a fact. And those of us that were in the unknowing state moving into a more knowing state, because our awareness is rising, we're not buying the literal bullshit anymore. And what's happening is we've separated ourselves, if you want to talk in terms of frequency, we've separated ourselves from that very low dimensional meat suit with no soul, no spirit entity that is solely dependent, pun intended, upon being able to vampire the energy that they feed on so vehemently. They're disgusting little parasites. And it's quite simple. How did I put it, Ciara, today? If you're not standing in truth, and by definition, you are standing in lies. If you are not for truth or for me, then by definition, you are against me. And that applies to any imbecilic, idiotic, meat stick ego that's walking around caught in the daze and bewilderment of this place. So anyway, I think what I'll do is I will share. And remember, when I write, I'm writing from a very neutral position, and I fight to maintain that. And any sense of emotion that comes up, I look at it very quickly and go, oh, okay, yeah, got it. And just so I can nullify it. Because the intent behind this little note that will be getting sent to them, it will be the last thing they'll ever hear from me. Until they actually have to come to me and say, you know, Kate, you were right. I said, I fucking know I was right. Been right for a long time. And it's not about being right. It's not about needing to be right. It's about simply looking for truth, seeing it, and accepting it. How difficult is it for people to grasp the fucking notion that it was a British High Consulate that told me in voice, face-to-face, and on the phone that any use of the legal name was, in fact, pure fucking fraud. Now have a look at your driver's licenses. Have a look at your fishing permits. Have a look at your mortgages. Have a look at all of the shit of the Babylonian Empire that you are quagmired into, and tell me what part of it isn't fraud. If the name is attached by definition and completely admitted, a British High Consulate, people, a fucking embassy on behalf of entire nations tells you this, and you're going, oh, I wonder if it's fraud or not. That was 3 years ago. That's why Dean Clifford is in a cell right now. He's still playing the conflict game. Oh, I'm calling everybody out tonight. Don't worry about it. You thought I was on fire last night? This is going to be a fucking supernova tonight. That's why these people are in these places. That's why people like Tammy Pepperman need to shut their fucking mouths. Because all they're doing is keeping that whole illusion going that somehow something can be fixed in the legal. No. If thine eye offend thee, pluck it out. It doesn't say stick a Band-Aid on it and hope that it goes away. Because that is not going to happen, people. That's called being at effect. And I do make an ostrich reference in this little note. So how about I just shut up and get on with it? I just wanted to make sure that I was crystalline in my intent of what it is I'm sharing. And this is not even scraping the surface of the bullshit, the sheer and utter backstabbing nature of those, the dearest in my life that I love and still do, claimed and professed to love me. No, they didn't love me. And that includes those that, well, Kate, I'm here to help you out. You can sleep on the floor, but as soon as I'm not their fucking savior, oh, that's when the fangs come out. I'm finally in a place where this is the first time since my own home that I can feel the need to speak freely. Powerful thing, people. It is such a blinding contrast. And those that expected me to be their savior and save their mortgages, enjoy losing your house. Because you didn't listen. The answers are there on my website. I have said that countless times. If you spend the time, and I think now I'm going to get to the point where if someone asks me something about legal, I'm just going to type 2 words in the most loving way. Fuck off. What part of mental retarded system legal nonsense aren't you grasping yet? You don't know who you are. You still got your mitten strings. Oh, someone's going to come and save me. Yeah, no, they're not. That's your job. It's your job to get your little aha moments because you actually got busy learning the truth. You're not buying the bullshit of the religiocosis chosenitis groups, the clergy that are the most dumbed-down fucking retard pedophiles on the planet. Do you know why they have things like Cub Scouts and Sea Cadets and everything else? And so they can put children in a military environment so that they can be fucking raped. How many stories have you heard about it? I'm one of them. But I learned very quickly and very early what I was up against. And these are very instilling moments. You can choose to be the victim, the gripped in time, the vice of time victim, or getting a grip on your reality. That's the vice of the torus field, the toroidal around you. You are the whole universe. Why are you buying this shit? It's time to change your mind, change your heart. This is not a physical process, and I keep drilling this point home, and I'm going to keep drilling it home. This is where you know in your heart of hearts that you break the contract spiritually with it, knowing full well that it is that. We had a perfect example last night with Janet. For those that need to hear it again, listen back. You had another perfect example of it 2 weeks ago tonight, where I was swarmed, only to watch these fucking dogs run away with their tow truck with their tails between their legs, not wondering what fucking hit them. Well, I'll tell you what hit them. A spiritual Mack truck called Truth. And I can only imagine what went over the airwaves. Oh, she says she's Phoenician. Dun, 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 dun. There's a new one. Again, let's plant the seeds. Let's see how long it takes for the system to jump on that one and try to reprogram their little monkey rabbits. Well, if they say they're Phoenician, Fremantle, fucking spin them out. Morons. Making excuses for idiocy. I am so finished with that. That which you wish upon others, you have wished upon yourself. Your fucking wish is granted. Enjoy your doom, your silence, your muted, your judgment. Because I have a sneaky suspicion that those of us that are unconditional, well, we're going to be the ones holding the scales now, aren't we? Who do we want playing in our playground, boys and girls? Well, I don't think that one's ready yet. Let them do the merry-go-round one more time. Or 100 or 1,000, whatever the case may be. I've read Revelations 18 out to you guys. And not from that retarded biblical perspective. You all know how I translate things. I bring it into the anagogic. Far and above what these morons, apparently, big boats with animals are real. Apparently donkeys turn around and talk to people beating them. Apparently people can jump inside fishes. People can walk on water. And all of this allegorical display of anagogic. I think the number is 68% of Americans still think that Noah and his ark was fucking real. Now you've got Ruse, Sell, Crow selling the ruse again. The epic Noah's Ark or Noah or whatever the fuck they're calling this shill fest lately. Just to keep reinforcing it. Or for, people like you and me that can look right through this and just laugh our faces off at the lunacy that somehow people believe that there is some guy in the sky with a big beard is a walking hard-on for war, death, murder, raping children, and apparently he loved his son so much he said, fuck you, I'm watching American Idol, I got my Coors Light and my bag of Doritos and my Lazy Boy, you go down and get crucified. Yeah, there's a loving God. And you got people every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I don't care if it's a mosque, a synagogue, or a church, it's all the same fucking bullshit over and over, just told from a slightly different perspective, from the same literal nonsense. Shite doesn't deserve a place in fairy taledom. It's quite boring. Yet, people march their children into Sunday school. Praise Jesus, as Santa would say. They got people walking around, Jews, if you will, JWs. Let's call it what it is. I call you all out. Going door to door selling their watchtower for one of the most pedophilic organizations on the planet, owned and controlled by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Your schooling system was set up by the Rockefelleros, and your money is ruled by the Rothschilds. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. It's an allegory. It's called Change Your Mind, Change Your Heart. And that being said, you got to remember this is coming from the deepest point of me, from the closest, the dearest in my life, the very purpose I followed, to keep them safe. I have never seen so many dust trails, so many knives in my back as this lifetime. And for that, I'm grateful. That's the joke. Thank you so much for showing me such a stark contrast that I can see this. To let all you little nattering, rumor-mongering, Revelations 18 type whores of Babylon carry on with your drama, Marsha, playing the meat stick game. All about emotions. You're not seeing the energy. That's because your fire is consuming you. And until you quell those fires, you will never find the ash to rise from. I talked about that picture. There's only two positions, deep rest or neutral. Deep rest leaves the the lung area wide open, everything else is blue, and the neutral, everything else is black, and the lungs are blue. There's your blue blood. The blue blood returns to the lungs, remember, your spirit breath. That what you put in your heart, from your heart, is what you create to return as your spirit breath going out. This is what the aha moments do for you. They literally purify your blood. They return your intent to the Geminian aspect, your spirit. That's the only sign of the zodiac that is spirit. And I'm done explaining all the literal shit. I mean, there's lots of people out there that's what they do, and they do it very well. I just wish they would get past the literal, intellectual, oh, look how smart you are game. I know you're smart. That's why you're masters, is why I picked from you. Move on. Start asking the question, why? You know the what, the where, the how, the when, the who. But none of you have answered why, other than from a very literal perspective. Suppose that's my job at the end of the day, and that's okay. If but one shall awaken, that's my job, so that one part of our consciousness, that nagging thought in the back of your mind that has awoken to say, hey, why? Here's why. At least I'll give you my heartfelt version of it. But here, let me share this with you guys. Excuse me. And know that this is directed at those that I love the deepest. That's not to separate, that's just to give you a literal allegory. That's not to separate all of humanity and all of consciousness, because I am all of that. This is to show a contrast. That those that were the closest, the dearest in my life, were the ones that ran me through and twisted the blade the most. My own children included. You guys, I shared that back in December, going through my own 3 days in the tomb crucifixion, where I fought every ounce of my beingness to not text, to not call. The most painful thing for me, ask any Gemini in general, the hardest thing to do is shut up. It's all about communication with the Geminis. But that's the trick, where most Geminis haven't learned how to shut up yet. I did. So what do I talk on the air every night? Well, as I was saying to Jason today, this for me is the only stable datum point for myself. Well, I maintain a stability for myself, but this is where I get a chance to share that stability with you as you come in as stable points. So what we have is a stable datum to gather at. That we know that regardless of all the insanity of what the day-to-day literal meat stick drama, Marsha types throw in your way, you know you have somewhere to go for respite. Not to respite, basically to respit the truth into consciousness. Respit E, yeah. Remember, phonics, baby. There's your key to the kingdom. Turn it. You'll like it. Turn a key. Stop the bleeding. Turn a key, right? That's how it works. So I haven't posted this. I will, but I'm going to be firing this off to a few emails, and this will be my funeral pyre for them. You'll get the gist by the time I get through it. And this is handing it back. And this is my way of saying, no, I do not accept your gifts of harm any longer. Your turn. You have a look at it and you tell me. If it were up to me to judge you, just be grateful that I would never judge you as harshly as you have judged me. You missed the point. You missed me, the best part of me. No longer. So here it is. I hate to say I told you so. No, you won't believe much, if anything, I'm about to share with you, because you have all become too comfortable with the days of a well-constructed reality built by your unseen masters. It is my hope, however, that if at some point in your life I actually truly mattered, you will take the time to read, then take a look for yourself, in the same ways that you once counted on me to always be there for you. Besides, it's the last thing you're going to get from me anyway. I've lived through more hate and fear than most could even fathom, let alone handle. I've watched as those most loved and trusted in my life hold me in contempt by your betrayals in order to satiate your own comfort zones and in a haze existence. I have fought through this haze, exposing more truths, enduring the repercussions and backlash of the very system you worship, be it in their governments, their religions, and their schools of carefully controlled content coupled with deceptive intent. I have endured your silence, your criticism, your ridicule, your anger, and your hate. You have left me for dead far too many times because of your carefully manipulated by your system's fears. I have watched you all prosper in countless ways simply being a part of my life, where you have shunned me, betrayed me, where most of you simply hoped that I would just disappear as a result of your choices in these betrayals. You could always count on me and leaned on me, and you did. And when you were done, you cast me off like some pariah, spent and no longer of material value to you. In that, you missed the best part of me, but fortunately, there are millions around this world now that see beyond the physical value. No, you will not comprehend the nature of being transgendered because you didn't live in a lifetime of fear, shrouded in self-loathing as a result of careful system and society's divide and conquer mind-splitting you are all caught in. What you will also fail to see is that the path I walked and walk is one meant to remove your blinders, to break the spell of this broken reality where existing as a slave to another is removed. You will not accept the fact that you are in a Groundhog Day, living lifetime after lifetime in the same role over and over, but then déjà vu is your clue that you missed. They are the reminders that you screwed up last time too. It won't matter to you that I exposed the criminality of your master system in full view, and you likely cheered them on with believing things like newspapers owned by the same ones that own your mind. You worship your sports, your TV, your lusts, your education of fools, your governments, your police, your clergy, and so on, never once thinking that you were being sold horseshit of the highest order. There are many things you can doubt about me, yet you know I was always there for you, and that my ability to think and create was far above the normal being here. When you needed someone to talk, you asked me. When you needed something done, you asked me. When you needed comforting and hope, you came to me. You could always depend on me for anything you needed, because if it was in my power to do so, I delivered every time. It is your own self-loathing and fear that keeps you from reaching out. It is your lust for stealing from others that keeps you in fear of me. The circumstances backing this up are countless, but then you're thinking on some of those now anyway. It is your knowing I was right that scares you and terrifies your little egos still. In truth, where were you when I truly needed you? You were too busy condemning me, rationalizing your wrongs to justify why you should hate, fear, and never give a second thought about me. It's not like you can't find me with the #1 search listing on Google for Kate of Gaia. It's not like I've changed my number on my phone, same one. No, I'm the last one you want to think of because I shake the very foundations of your glee of insanity day-to-day existences. You'd prefer to go along to get along, and leave those that truly loved you to hang out to dry. A great teacher once said, "The truth shall set you free," but actually, all the great teachers said that, where I chose to agree. Would it trouble you to know that you don't own the home you've death-pledged, mortgaged yourself to, where you were just a tenant? Would it trouble you to know that everything you have ever registered is not yours, but rather surrendered, like every good slave does, to your masters? This includes your children, but then I took the time to free mine from spiritual bondage long ago. You are stuck in a physical time warp, the material world that has you convinced that you are mortal, and as a result, you will continue to experience the pain of death as you ride the same ride over and over. Yes, much of this is going over your heads, but then please question my intellect, because somehow you're smarter. While you're at it, compare your own passions in life with mine. Tell me that you never enjoyed the music I wrote, either playing with me or just listening. Go ahead and negate my hospitality, my open door, open arms policy all you want. But the only thing you'll come to realize is your own blinding mirror. Some call it guilt. I call it reality of personal responsibility, something humanity as a whole is seriously lacking. That's because they're too busy rushing to their deaths as per the mortal programming so carefully instilled in your weak minds and assuredly weak hearts, the true mind. So many of you have picked away at me over the years, where I was always left trying to answer the whys of it. You were also willing to take from me, and when any time I needed you, truly needed you, you were not to be found, and in most cases still busy picking away at my bones. Just a heads up, time is short, really short, and why I chose to write this today, where those that are remotely interested in not repeating the same lifetimes over and over may pay heed. Where your aberrated minds cannot hear this, your spirit does. And right about now, you should be feeling a tinge of panic as the truths of your choices start to sink in. You were always quick to share in the bounties I had when I had them. My home was always yours regardless of circumstances, even when so many of you plotted my destruction, aiding and abetting in my failed takedown. You are no different to me than the police, city and bank officials, and newspapers, etc., that tried to do the same thing, stealing my family, my home, and all in my life that I worked for, and no one could even offer a spot on the floor to sleep, or had a kind word to share. And somehow you claim to know what love is all about? Insanity. Some of you have betrayed me to a level that prior to was unfathomable, but then the saying, forgive them for they know not what they do, becomes your saving grace with me. This system has you convinced that there is a headstone with your name on it, and unfortunately for you, they're right. You will live yet another lifetime in your selfish, delusional ignorance, with a zest of glee that confirms your insanity where I chose to erase mine. You support a world that allows children to die of starvation, wars, rapings, etc., and you can somehow call this normal? The ignorant masses that you are, march proudly to commit murders and mayhem because you have been enslaved to one flag or another, and you think this is sane? You go to their churches of a carefully programmed mirror and teach you exactly the opposite of what the real teachers were saying, and somehow you expect someone to save your sorry asses? No. You have sown countless seeds of discord unknowingly, and you will hate me for exposing them. But then, no harm, no foul, in that you already live in the realm of disgusting me anyway. You always came to me looking for answers, and none of you want the real ones because your carefully programmed and educated minds short out. Do you honestly think I would have let your children continue to be silent to you if the roles were reversed? This is because you think you own things. And it is this mentality that makes you a slave to the physical, rendering your soul owned by another. No amount of praise Jesus is going to save you, where you are only known by your actions. Would I let you freeze to death for your lack of compassion? Would I betray your trust to maneuver a knife in the back? And would I interfere in your relationships to destroy them? Would I look you in the eye and take money from you, knowing what you did, when you indeed took my blessings to clean your bloodied knife? Oh, to be sure, I've made my share of mistakes and paid for them in my own acceptance of responsibility, not out of comfort of denial. I have weighed carefully these mistakes as to the lessons of what I would never do now contrasts. I have sifted through my justifiers and neutralized them to find the true culprit of that being a corruption of humanity as a whole. Yes, as it stands, you have all left me for dead as you got on with your literal and pitiful slave existences, because it is easier to go along to get along, regardless of who and how many are harmed in your most selfish and self-serving of ways. No, you'd rather let the world go on being insane, as long as you're comfy cozy in your insanity cocoons. Make no mistake, these revelations are coming to pass, and your lunatic world will crumble before you, where your hate, your greed, your lusts, and ignorance will be in plain view for you to see. Yes, you can see me only as, where's my silver that cost me my blood? Where's my this and where's my that? Because all you've ever seen from me is another point of creation to steal from. You've milked me for music, money, support, friendship, love, and every manner of self-gratifying need that you had, because in truth, you don't know how to create, where you're trained only to serve and get breadcrumbs gleefully from a system that owns your soul far beyond your physical meatstick illusion greeds. If you weren't coattailing for your own gratuitous selfishness of fame, notoriety, money, connections, benefits, you were coattailing me every time I had something new in my life, pretty much from the day I met you. But then that's what time ogres do. There are a few of you that had the decency to show up at my dad's funeral, so I know who you are. Would you invite me to your funeral services of loved ones? Or would you shun me too out of preconceived notions of judgment concocted in your own malevolent minds? Would you stand silent in the face of those you love who wouldn't even share a word of peace with them? Or would you expect me to show a face of disgust while you were down and being kicked constantly by those you love and are trying to awaken? While you may see these writings as judgments, they're not. They are merely offerings of perspective and observations of the things I would never do to you. Unfortunately, your left brains are owned, and you're too busy getting emotional inside, scrambling to justify every evil intent you showed in your actions, and more importantly, inactions, to be there for someone who would and will always be there for you, regardless of the pains you have wrought upon me in your blinded egos and ids. Those in your system worshiping that have harmed me and those I love have their day of reckoning coming up quicker than they realize, and those that stand with them are fallen yet again. I sit here in utter amazement and piety for the want of a single kind word from any of you. Not a peep. Shall I speak for you now? Shall I share the same mercy and consideration that you have shown me? Indeed, what if I am right? And I am. Would you feel comfortable in being the one who will speak for you, or do you think I will be as callous, spiteful, and hateful as you? Would you use me as your character reference? Truth be known, I'm the only one left that would speak on your behalf, and it would not be from the same evil and malevolent intent that you have shown me. You have shunned me, left me for dead without so much of a "I hope you're still alive," because quite frankly, I'm dead to you already. Unfortunately, you are the ones that are of the dead of this world, where I have chosen to endure your hatred, where, when the time comes, I will speak kindly of you, knowing full well where your delusions came from. Fortunately, there are over 1 million people tuned into my show each night, which gives me all the purpose I need. If the roles were reversed, could you say the same? I know you can't, because you are of the insane in this world, because everything wrong with it is simply normal to you. Oh, go ahead and watch your TV shows, your sports games, and continue giving the majority of your energy to a master that is sucking you dry spiritually. It will continue until you awaken or simply cease to exist, without any consciousness or life source left, and become finally non-existent. Would I steal your pets? Would I sell your things? Would I abandon you because some smooth talker talked you into bed at your weakest point? Would I accept you and then deny you because you didn't fit with my personal wants? Would I place the same conditions on your love as you did mine? Would you make it possible for me to raise my children at home properly and then have me tell you that you're somehow an asshole for not spending time with your children? Would you take all my debts to start you off in life debt-free just to make sure the children had their home and then be okay with me being vengeful using the system that enslaves you? Would you stand back while others took turns sniping at those you love? How many times have you thought of me with hate in your heart, or remembered the good times to alleviate your own guilt and vicious poisons of the tongue? How much money have you invested in your vengeance and hatred of me? How much of me have you stolen to alleviate your lustful desires of flesh and material? No, your preconceived notions, birthed in your own ignorance and fears, will never allow you to see beyond your meat-stick physical veil that has you blinded. The day is at hand where all I have spoken of is true and is coming to pass. And I will ask you, are you ready to stand in that blinding light of this reality? Or are you still so arrogant as to claim to somehow know better than creation itself? I have long suffered your desires, your lusts and need to keep up with the fictional Joneses, because that's what everybody does in exactly the same way that lemmings fling themselves off a cliff, because all the other lemmings are doing it. The clues in nature are everywhere, but you'd rather destroy a planet chasing your little trinkets and baubles from the whore of Babylon. You choose to serve where I serve only truth. I have long tried to make and keep the peace, while I watch each of you manipulate each other with your literal judgments and denials, casting scorn upon those, like me, who see what's really going on. You are walking through your lives with broken calculators, doing the same things over and over, and somehow you expect a better life? You have all made it abundantly clear that I am dead to you, where only the guilt attached to your religiocosis chosenitis programs gave you the impetus to maybe text me, but not because you truly cared, rather that you had the requisite excuse to do so and feel some of that guilt to alleviate. You feel good enough to continue doing the repeat cycle. Yes, you have all picked me clean in one way or another, used me to your advantage, and when that was used up, you tossed me to the curb in the same way you toss a used Kleenex. You were all invited into my inner sanctum to see more, but you never could. But maybe now you might. I was only a friend when you used my resources to help you, be it moving, building, sharing, providing coattails to ride on, and feeding you, etc. I was only a parent when I could provide what you needed, when you needed it. Not once did anyone ever stop to truly ask my intentions and reasons. You were quick to react in fear and loathing that when I did share real truth, you were not interested because it ruined your illusion of the comfortable slave mentality. Everything was fine as you drained my entire life efforts until it was gone. Using it up and then claiming it somehow cost you. Do you think for one moment I am not eternally grateful for this most profound look in humanity's mirror? Because it gave me the tools to see right through this system's machinations, and in turn to see right through you. As the allegory makes it clear, only through a Judas can a Christ mind be found. Only a Judas would steal a family. Only a Judas would strip another bare. Only a Judas would sell out for 30 pieces of silver. Only a Judas would covet their neighbors and worship the money idol. Only a Judas could be trusted enough to betray another, and in that I have found you trustworthy in the mirror. You can talk all about your beliefs, be they Christian or the like, but you are fools to think the same system that set up the commerce traps are the self-same ones that corrupted any and all truths found in so many ancient tomes, all telling the same story, but it's not the one you've all bought in one form or another. The level of psychosis humanity and you are under is mind-boggling, but you will not hear, you will not see, because you are degraded to the level of physical effect, and you grovel in this bliss of ignorance, bound for another trip on the same merry-go-round, same horse, same scenes, where hopefully you'll eventually see this. You will come up with all manners of reasons to claim I have hurt you, abused you, betrayed you, let you down, and these thoughts will fester in your pus-filled program minds, because that's what you do. It's what you always do. Try and spot the trend. I'll make it easy for you where I'm going to let the dead bury the dead, and since by your actions you are known, I am simply dead to you. I didn't matter enough for so much as a text, a reply, a phone call, or any of the like. I sought truth, and you chose to see me as a pariah. Even when I did get any sort of reply, it was only because you felt guilty enough to do so, or continue in your blaming and spiteful diatribes I have worked for so long to remove. No, the very times that I needed you most, when I was down and bleeding to death, you chose to stick another knife in my back. But then, that's what your programs running have you trained to do. Soon you will experience the effect I have on this world, where I even showed some of you that one can change the world with a world record as a physical example of the nature that you truly are. But you chose not to listen and simply ride the coattails of my creations, willfully shared in love. Then willfully stolen with lust. Greed. Just because you could. I'm making final arrangements for my own funeral of sorts, where the last remnants of anything physical will be given to you in lieu of my real gold, and the real rainbow I tried to show you. You have your own filthy mirrors to clean, where I chose to clean and correct my own. It's funny the level of loneliness I experienced as I shared all my creations, my abilities, and my gifts, trying to show you that you have the same within you. You have missed it completely. So please remember the good times to alleviate your twisted sense of compassion. Sit back and pick me apart as you always have, while you attempt to justify your own selfish natures. I grant you all the material wealth, what little remains, because I was safekeeping it for others with a far different intent, where I could have used it to survive. You will have your pound of flesh and your blood-stained lucre, because that is all you understand, and I apologize for not being a better teacher. I am sorry for exposing the corruption of this world that scared you all so deeply. Forgive me for exposing your minds that enslaved... forgive me for exposing your minds that enslaved a master you cannot see, or that are enslaved to a master you cannot see where I do. If you still care to move on with truth at all, pop by my website. I put the link there. To see what you missed, and to see what you created with your betrayals and allowed me to suffer your slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Go ahead and question my intellect, where you know how searing mine is. I give back to you all the daggers you have knowingly and unknowingly thrown in my back to protect your fragile ego realities of this fuck thy neighbor world you seem to love. This system you worship in all its forms, murders, starves, and rapes the most fragile of us, all being the children, and you support this wholeheartedly, where I am only one tiny example of out of sight, out of mind. Remember, all that you have wished upon me, you have wished upon yourself to experience betrayal, abandonment, being picked to the bone by the vultures in the form of the ones you love and trust the most. Just know this. The things you have done to me are the mirrored reflections of all that I willingly gave to you, showing you that I would never do to you what you have done to me. If you needed respite, I was there. If you needed a shoulder, I was there. If you needed help or simply a place to be, I was there. Hell, even the ones that were claiming to help me had ulterior motives of expecting me to be their savior. It has been over 2 years since my family was ripped apart again, but that time it was the system that I exposed its corruption to the core, where it was my supposed friends and family that did it the first time. Nice. Oh, how swiftly you attacked me, defending your pitiful egos from your meat-stuck reptilian brainstems. So please, remain silent like an ostrich with its head stuck in its ass. Believing it because you can't see anything doesn't mean it isn't there. No, everyone loves to hate a winner, but not until that winner has been picked clean, because that's all you know how to do. I watched it in 2 different school systems. I endured it being raped at 13. I watched as my mother killed herself with alcohol, and then again with my mother-in-law, where you left it up to me to speak at her funeral because none of you had the guts. I listened to my father-in-law reply, "Is she pregnant?" when asking his permission to marry, where even marrying was in complete defiance of my core nature, where I fought to be, quote, normal, unquote, in some fucking planet that gleefully slaughters itself at its master's command. I watched each and every one of you turn on me in one way or another, in line with your lemming kin. I watched as my father and brother-in-law were murdered by a system I had already proved wrong and provided the healing. So deep is the suicide programming in you. I watched those that I love dearly shun me, preferring to believe words written by a system gnat in their paper rags and that never asked for my side of the story. I even left those reporting for their master shaking their heads, wondering what the fuck was going on. No, you chose your lemming, jumped to death with everyone else kin, because that's the easy road. It's much easier to sit back with the crowds because that requires no thinking. There I was fighting for you, and others unable to do the mental work to get it done, yet all you could do was loathe me for it. Every manner of justifier has went through your feeble lemming minds to blame me, shun me, hate me, steal from me with your delusions of grandeur. You've sold my belongings, never asked because your vengeance against yourself owns you. If you do take the time to read my works to show you the real world you live in your delusional blindness, my hope is that you finally get it. Yep, I want you in my life now as much as you have shown me how much I factor in yours. Yes, you left me for dead, and to you I offer you the loss of me, where maybe you might feel that loss. Well, not likely is my suspicion, as you carry on with the games and programs so carefully constructed to keep you distracted and under the control of a master you consent to with every thought. Try to imagine what your life would have been without me, as I have considered the same as it pertains to you. I've had plenty of opportunities to sell out or follow my own dreams, where each of you has factored into the destructions of both of those realities. Enjoy the 6-foot boxes that await all mortals that fail to see their immortality so beautifully taught by so many masters past and present. Carry on with your little dramas of playing house like the grown-up versions of children you are. Keep sucking on the whore of Babylon's tits called system, and so intricately laid bare by myself and others. Continue in your support of the murders and rapes of the little children that you aid and abet through your collusion with the very system you lust after that enables it. Watch your cop shows, your hockey games, your reality TV indoctrinations, because that is all you seem to be capable of. You are what you eat, and your eyes, hearts, and minds eat greedily of the delusions presented to you as normal. The difference between you and me is that your masters don't care to know your name written in their book of the dead, where they are in terror of mine writing my own book of life. It was never important to me that I knew anyone's name, but rather that they knew mine. And they do. Fact. Puppet presidents and prime ministers, whore queens, and pedophile popes pay close attention to me as I shake down their castles built on quicksand where I just add water. Known as truth. Go ahead and get your licenses from Licentious. Look it up. Get your certificates. Money. Look it up. Get your diplomas, your degrees, your pitiful death pledges via tongue pledges, mortgages and languages, your passports, hall passes, your bank accounts that are crown-owned due to their name you think is yours, fraud, and all manner of shite that proves you haven't a clue as to who you truly are. It is my wish that you can also endure the knives thrown in your back by those claiming to love you, either through blood or consent, as they twist it and turn it in soul-wrenching agony. It is my wish that you don't buckle under the strain, as I have not and never will. As the song says, you don't know what you got till it's gone, pave paradise and put up a parking lot. I grant you your wish of material shite in lieu of me. The real me, that is infinite and immortal. Congratulations if you got this far. But then, seeing this is the last time you will hear from me, what the hell, eh? Keep lying to yourself at how wonderful you are and how evil I must be for choosing to set this psychotic world free. First through song and then through the same songs without the music. I would suggest you have your little mock funerals for me, because a funeral is not something I will ever experience again. Truth and wisdom has that effect once you become cause over it. Eat your poison specially grown for you, using your DNA from urine to infect your programs even deeper. Drink your poisons, feast on the system's lies, since most of humanity does anyway. Be a good little psychopath, and support all the traps and programs that keep you enslaved, and perma-guilty with genocide. The list of things that you have done to me is truly endless, where I have the serenity of knowing my intentions and reasons of wishing no harm, as I worked out all the bugs of my own program mind to escape it. What's truly hilarious is that so many of you flock to their churches as the Sunday morning Christians you are, and these goons teach exactly the opposite of what the masters, in those books were really saying. The Jesus guy was pure radical, fighting the very institutions called churches and banks that owned minds then and now, and they love to remind you of what will happen if you defy your masters. You get crucified in a larger-than-life motif. I can't believe the sheer insanity and mental retardation of those claiming to be clergy. Ignorance, as always, is not and never will be a defense, universally speaking, no less. Morons. LOL. What are you going to do this year that is any different from any other year as you decorate your illusions from someone else's calendar's construct? What are you going to do that is radically different from everything else you've already done over and over in your mundane existences? It can be safely said that the experiences you shared with me were at least radically different, so why would you think I would do it any other way? Program life is typical, truth is radical. You and your self-righteous indignations haven't a fucking clue as to what is really going on, so why would I expect you to change? That would be me trying the same things over and over where you just won't get it anyway, rendering me insane. Nah, I'm weary of waiting to see who cares, who gives a remote as fuck whether I'm alive or dead, with a few of you wishing I was, so as not to expose your backstabbing ways. Yep, I've made more mistakes than most, but the irony was I was seeking to find the answers within me, to correct my course, to find the things I would never do again. The big difference there is that while you are a meat stick stuck, I only see the energies now far beyond your menial existences. Your agreements have you powerless, in that you walk lockstep with the very forces that control you, sucking your very soul dry. This is the crossroads of Shadow Road, kiddies, and you are found lacking with your contracts to the darkness in full force and effect. I chose to see all humanity in all its forms, not separating my children from those of others, where my own children hold me in contempt for this choice. A better parent would not have taught their children the ways of the world, because a better parent would know this and not be left in the paradox where I saw this only after the fact. Well, better late than never, as it said. Let me close this off with a fond farewell as I make the arrangements to get the material into your greedy little paws, where it only cost you me. You will see soon enough the truth of my words and the power of transformation, where perhaps you may get your own aha moments in time. My intent is one of benevolence to mirror your malevolence, and as you sit back, writhing and seething in your mounting hatred of what I have shared with you, your own spirit hears the truth only. It is up to you, not me, to see these things, but the good news is, all the info you need is on my website, if you can swallow your pathetic and arrogant pride long enough to indulge in such a thing as truth. To measure the pain of what it took to get and ultimately write this is immeasurable, but I am reminded of the words, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do," come to mind, because I know it's the ego programming that owns your soul and will continue to do so, rendering you mortal and in constant fear. Am I willing to sacrifice everything for the betterment of all? For you? I do it willingly. Just have a listen to my song, Field of Broken Dreams, again. With all this in mind, and you may figure it out, as I did, why it is my signature song. The ones crazy enough to think they can change the world are always the ones that do. Don't worry, though, because in the end I will not judge you as harshly or as viciously as you have judged and mocked me. Where you have tried to pick me clean, I will offer only the universe. So get the visual of me face down, dead and frozen in a ditch, forgotten, because that is a visual you have all painted for me. It really is a good thing that I know what love truly means, because I will never do that to you. I can't even form the thoughts required to do so. Run along now, support your systems, your churches, your governments, because without you, they can't murder and rape the children you forgot, and quite frankly, don't give a shit about. Lucky for you, though, I do. If you need a puke bucket, let me know so I can try and locate one I haven't filled, retching from your delusional judgments and blood you have so skillfully emptied from my heart. Hopefully you will be made as sick as I was looking in your own broken mirrors. Not holding my breath, but then, what does someone who is dead to you need to breathe for anyway? Too funny. P.S. Seriously, would you want me to be the one holding your scales of justice with the power of thumbs up or down? Yeah, now I got you looking in your mirror, because it will be me. Soon you will know what unconditional love is truly all about. Best get busy, no? LOL. I'll include the link to listen to the show where I read this to over 1 million folks live. Your world is coming to an end now. Fact. And there's tonight's bedtime story. Let's get these mics open. Let me see. Oh, I lost. Looks like we lost Weechi.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you are. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you are. I got Janet and I've got Joe Tar in as well. So, ladies.
Thank you, Kate.
Wow. Yep. What a creation.
Strong kindness.
I have to tell you guys, everything you've heard regarding my life in terms of the radio shows over the last number of years doesn't even scratch the surface.
Yeah.
We got some noise in the background, guys. Can if you're not talking, can you mute out, please? Thank you. There, that's better.
Okay. Kate?
Yeah.
I have to go in not such a long time, but I want to read again from the Red Book of You, if that's okay.
Please do.
Okay, this is page, I don't know, page 360, epilogue, 1959. I worked on this book for 16 years. My acquaintance with alchemy in 1930 took me away from it. The beginning of the end came in 1928, when Wilhelm sent me the text of The Golden Flower, an alchemical treatise. There the content of this book found their way into actuality, and I could no longer continue working on it. To the superficial observer, it will appear like madness. It would also have developed into one, but I had not been able to absorb the overpowering force of the original experiences. With the help of alchemy, I could finally arrange them into a whole. I already knew that these experiences contained something precious, and therefore I knew of nothing better than to write them down in a precious, that is to say, costly book, and to paint the images that emerged through reliving it all, as well as I could. I knew how frightfully inadequate this undertaking was, but despite much work and many distractions, I remained true to it, even if another possibility never... Then I want to continue on a part which I just saw from Scrutinies, and that's page number 349. And as Philemon spoke these words, he bent down swiftly to the ground, touched it with his hand, and disappeared. The following night, the dead approached like fog from a swamp, and exclaimed, "Tell us more about the highest God." And Philemon stepped forward and began to speak. And this is the third sermon to the dead. Abraxas is the God who is difficult to grasp. His power is greatest, because man does not see it. From the sun he draws the summum bonum, from the devil the infinum malum, but from Abraxas life. Altogether indefinite, the mother of good and evil. Life seems to be smaller and weaker than the summum bonum. Therefore it is also hard to conceive that Abraxas' powers transcends even the sun's, which is the radiant source of all vital force. Abraxas is the sun, and at the same time the eternally sucking gorge of emptiness, of the diminisher and dismemberer of the devil. The power of Abraxas is twofolded, but you do not see it, because in your eyes the warring opposites of this power are cancelled out. What the sun god speaks is life, what the devil speaks is death. But Abraxas speaks that hallowed and accursed word that is at once life and death. Abraxas produces truth and lying, good and evil, light and darkness, in the same word and in the same act. Therefore Abraxas is terrible. He is as splendid as the lion in the instant he strikes down his victim. He is as beautiful as a spring day. He is the great and the small Pan alike. He is Priapos. He is the monster of the underworld, a thousand-armed polyp, a coiled knot of winged serpents, frenzy. He is the hermaphrodite of the earliest beginning. He is the lord of toads and frogs, which live in the water and go up on the land, whose chorus ascends at noon and at midnight. He is the fullness that seeks union with emptiness. He is holy begetting. He is love and its murder. He is the saint and his betrayer. He is the brightest light of day and the darkest night of madness. To look upon him is blindness. To recognize him is sickness. To worship him is death. To fear him is wisdom. Not to resist him is redemption. God dwells behind the sun, the devil behind the night. What God brings forth out of the light, the devil sucks into the night. But Abraxas is the world, its becoming and its passing. Upon every gift that comes from the sun god, the devil lays his curse. Everything that you request from the sun god produces a deed from the devil. Everything that you create with the sun god gives effective power to the devil. That is terrible Abraxas. He is the mightiest created being, and in him creation is afraid of itself. He is the manifest opposition of creation to the plemora and its nothingness. He is the son's horror of the mother. He is the mother's love for the son. He is the delight of the earth and the cruelty of the heavens. And his sight man's face congeals. Before him there is no question and no reply. He is the life of creation. He is the effect of differentiation. He is the love of man. He is the speech of man. He is the appearance and the shadow of man. He is deceptive reality. Now the dead howled and raged, for they were incomplete. So I could go on forever and ever, but
oh yeah, for sure.
Somebody wants to react now.
Yeah, again, what we're doing here is we're working through these different demons, if you will, the of me's, you know, and again, that what I just read to you guys, for example, is written from completely neutral, just from a pure observation. You know, as I was saying to Jason today, I could sum up my ex-spouse and my ex-best friend. 32-year friendship and 28-year relationship wasn't worth 3 minutes on a picnic table. And isn't it funny that that's actually what happened, as I found out later. You know, these people, and I mean, my former sister-in-law even warned my ex. She says, "Whoa, you got to be careful." I don't miss a trick, and I don't. Because I'm not listening to people, I'm feeling them. This is the way it's always been with me. I can feel a fucking parasite. Oh, absolutely I can feel that. People can wax eloquence all they want with me, and I'm looking at them going, do you really think you can lie to my face while you're standing in my aura? Do you honestly fucking believe you can do that? I know your intent. I can feel it. And this has been my one saving grace, is because I could always sense what was around me. I mean, this was finely tuned in music, being terrified of the stage, and here I am, front row center, hating it as always. But you get innately tuned in to everything around you, all the perceived, dark energies that, like a heckler or someone that has something not quite so good hanging around in them.
Isn't that magnetism?
In the silence of simply the intuition. That's the bringing it into self. And being wide open enough to allow that in and allow it out equally. So that you're not caught up in the quagmire and the ebb and flow of the emotional tsunamis that people get riled in. You hear people spewing hate, derogatory remarks, all sorts of things as they divide themselves from the rest of humanity in that singular meat stick perspective.
Yeah.
Like, I got to tell you, I could go on for days outlining. See, that's a problem with my memory.
No, I can't wait to read the Testament. Really,
it's impeccable, and as much as I love it, I hate it.
Yeah, but finish it.
Oh well, again, it's finished. I mean, this is my what do they call that? That's my eulogy for them. Mm. And once sent, it's gone. The intent is gone.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And they can grovel in their own shite.
Hey, I was arrested yesterday, by the way.
Oh, excellent. Well done.
But after an hour, I was free. So.
Yeah, good. Well done. I got to tell you guys, if you haven't been through that and walked out on the other side, you're not in the game. If you're not on some government list somewhere, you're a fucking stooge. You're not playing. Right?
That's true. Well, I don't know which list. The black, the white, or the gray list.
See, here's the thing is, the joy of, and I talked to Jason in great detail about this today.
I feel more safe, by the way.
Well, of course you do, because you've got your invisible Susan Storm shield up. But as I was talking to Jason today about this, what we came down to quantify in no uncertain terms was that he and I agreed that I am actually the only human on this planet completely devoid of name. And that was proven 2 weeks ago. I didn't need it proven. I didn't need it proven. You know who needed it proven? All of you. So here I go through another. Hang on. Ouija, hang on. Just let me carry the thought through here, okay? Please. It wasn't for me. That was for everybody else, because every other point of you needs that reference point, and that's the gift we give to each other, these different reference points. I am but one of them. That reference point is to set you free from the physical illusion. And it is that simple. Oh, I had a great chat with Jason today. Like I said, I could talk with him for hours.
Okay, something, not for me, but for all of us listening, I could not find it really easily in the archives. Can somebody put that show on Facebook
March 14th.
I know.
YouTube, just put it in YouTube,
YouTube.
The conference, Kate of Gaia. It's on Lightworkers Media. Kate of Gaia, The Confrontation, March 14th.
Okay. Everybody notice this, yes? Write it down with a pen and paper.
And remind me, I will get a hold of Ninja and ask her to post the direct link on the website. She's not tuned in tonight, but I'll make sure it's there. Because that, and Jason and I talked about it. Again, remember, I talk about me from a third-party perspective, right? I see the game piece. That's all I see. It's not about me. It's about me, Magnetic Electric. The all, right? And when one of you change something in you, we all change. That's what consciousness does. It interweaves with itself. I am merely open to that weaving, where others have their strings pulled so fucking tight, you can't weave anything with it. The only thing you can do with a string that's tight is like the ego wants. You can shoot arrows from it into someone else's back, So, again, I could go in great detail of the countless things that I have went through to build me up to this point.
I have a question then.
Sure.
Because what I noticed was, I was on a direction. I wanted to visit somewhere, so I had someone following me, like identification, blah blah blah. Well, I'm not going to comply to this. I'm a free citizen. I'm here for something else. I just followed my way. Then, but it wasn't a government kind of stuff, so I got through it. And then I noticed I was totally calm. But then I noticed my heart beating, and I noticed my emotions running, and I was noticing a lot of people paying attention, and the energy focusing on me and trying to find stuff or whatever. Then I really felt my heart pounding, and I some worker there, I told him, like, okay, you're a witness now. Probably I'm gonna refer to you in another time of moment. But then it was really also, cost me the most energy is to keep my emotions neutral. And but can you elaborate?
Well, it's the typical ego reaction to emotions is to fight it.
Mm-hmm.
Completely 180 degrees. Accept it and go, cool, I know what that is. You sit there.
Yeah.
That's what it means to get a grip on your emotions. You see, when we fight these emotions, what we're doing is that which you resist persists. This is where the letting go is the acceptance of all. That's the conundrum, the paradox of a singularity. To let go, you must accept all.
Yeah.
To accept all, you must let go.
There is a kind of foresight. That's interesting. I noticed that there was a kind of first, I thought, oh, well, this, I think I managed this, I'm going to follow my plan and just be there. But it didn't. Then I realized, no, it's not going to work out like this, or I created it. I don't know yet, but it was a test case.
Based on what you've said, what you've done is created a beautiful contrast. Because if that same situation would present itself again, you have new tools, knowing full well what you experienced, and of course you come out the other side perfectly anyway. This is the removal of that fear, and this is exactly and the only thing that I am, if I'm teaching anything at this table, that's what I am teaching.
Yeah.
People run from their fears. They don't want to confront them.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little trick that I used on stage. Before I go up, I literally puked before every show. Every time.
Mm.
Guys in the band used to laugh at me.
Purging.
Okay, can't. Well, it's not purging. It's just literally sick to my stomach of having to go up on stage again. You got to remember, I'm coming at it from a different perspective, where my whole life I have spent condemning and loathing my existence as the curse.
Yeah.
And that which is wrong, and I really need to drive this point home, because everything here is backwards. That what you think is wrong with you, you fucking idiot, is exactly what is right with you. So go ahead and tell me you have ADD. Tell me you're dyslexic, and tell me you can't read and write, and I'm going to tell you, lucky you. Because that's your power, and you're missing it. I just learned to find it. I just learned to locate it. And I've had a whole lifetime of shunning the limelight. I don't need... See, here's the irony of this place. Everyone wants to go out and be famous, be a star. Why would a star want that? I already know I am. So it doesn't hold. It has no hold on me. I turned down Broadway, hun. I turned down Nashville. I turned down record deals with my rock band. I fucking turned down everything because I cannot be bought.
Yes.
That's all it takes. And I look at these people and I was in it. I was neck deep in the music industry. I wanted to get into musical theater. I had all the doors open to Broadway, literally. 2 weeks later, I met my ex-spouse. So much for that little dream. And that's okay. It's all good. Like I said, I got 2 beautiful daughters out of it that don't give a rat's royal fuck whether I'm alive or dead. Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, and let me put it out there because this link is going to them. I'll tell you right now that if the roles were reversed, there is no fucking way I would allow my children to do that to their mom.
Yeah.
Not a chance. And I don't care if a best friend who betrayed my most intimate of trust threw a knife in my back because he saw an advantage.
Yeah, I'm sorry for you.
That's exactly what he did. Yeah. Oh, my girls don't know this, but here's the funny thing. And this is why you don't fuck with a Gemini, dragon. Because all the conversations that he and my ex had while she was still at my house, the girl's home actually, were all recorded.
Yeah.
I've got them all.
Yeah.
So I've got the archives. So it doesn't matter what either of them have said because I have it in their own words. This is a dangerous part. Yeah, I might be considered a little intellectual. I might be considered a little, well, if I need to catch a serial killer, I better think like one. And that's what I do. And that's where you catch them sleeping. That's where you catch them off guard.
That's interesting, because they say to you, everything what you say can be used and will be used against you. But it's the same.
Well, you see, that's the thing is, I got lots of other stuff too from all of that. Remember, it was my ex that wasn't satisfied with being relieved of all responsibilities, all debts, credit cards, everything. That wasn't enough for her.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough that our children had a stable place to be while she was busy off doing her thing. Right?
Yeah.
None of that mattered. None of that mattered. And it does. Hang on. Listen. I really need to let this out tonight, guys. So yeah. Just don't derail me at this point, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
I love you. I'm gonna mute out. Okay? I love you.
Well, you don't have to mute out. It's just, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I got to get into these thought forms to maintain them, and this is what the most loved in my life need to hear. The only thing my oldest was concerned with in school were marks. And you should read the email that she sent me, making it all my fault, where all I wanted them to be was happy. It wasn't me that was chasing after the number one position just because I had done it in school. That was her choice. I didn't give a shit. I told both of them, you can come home with F's for all I care because you're going to get an education properly anyway. Here. It didn't matter the hell that I was going through that Sue, Emily, and Hillary didn't give a fuck about. They were too busy watching movies, too busy making sure that there was pizza on Friday night, too busy making sure that everything was taken care of, too busy making sure that they didn't have a goddamn care in the world. Even on the very night that I got kidnapped, I did not want to leave the house that night. I had a feeling. And of course I took Sue's car, which put me in their jurisdiction, to take my daughter, who, Sue could have been the one to take her up to the birthday party. And because I knew that I was the only stable datum holding that fort down. That's why I never got home that night. Because the system that they love to worship, all my former band members and all of the former family, all the Adamses, and there's a few exclusions here, and I know whose heart's really shown through. So don't worry. I'm speaking to all of them right now. Now, who was the one that you could call on and count on? It was always me. Always me. Oh, yeah. I went through situations of being fleeced in a business with a partnership, with a family member. I went through a lot of these things. And I watched all of these betrayals one by one by one by one, and I said, oh, okay, well, we'll just carry through. And I got to tell you, the only thing I ever wanted out of anybody was to be. Share a dream. Show them who they were, who they truly were, to chase that rainbow, to find that true essence of self within. I literally sacrificed hundreds of thousands of dollars in music. Where all of these other individuals that were involved, well, they've all got the CDs and all of the experiences at the behest of my creations. And I'm not going to be selfish on this. I'm just showing the contrast here. And I'll tell you, many of these people, their lives would never mind they're being fucking dullards now, because I'll tell you, as soon as I left my own band in 1999, the whole thing fell apart. Isn't that funny? And then when we tried to revamp it a little bit later, that was at their request. It wasn't me. It was my drummer, my bass player, and they got a hold of my guitar player, Sam, who I taught his first chords. As a kid, lived next door to him as a kid. And it's the very same one that turned his back on me after my other best friend, Tim, threw a fucking knife in my back countless times. I mean, this guy, I called him in to do a job. Because his job shows he's heartless. He's a tin whacker. He needs to find his heart. Where he came in and looked me square in the eyes, taking money from me. I haven't been shagging my wife for the last couple of weeks. Really? That's what a time ogre is. Do I still love them? Absolutely. And I'll tell you right now, if each and every one of them ever turned to me and needed something, I'd be the first one there. Because I know what it is. It's their programs. And they'll grovel in their guilt, and they'll go to, they'll go to their Sunday mornings, Sunday morning Christians, and they'll pray for forgiveness to their satanic god that they don't realize they're worshiping. That's the system's god, not the one they talk about in the books. It's the 180 degrees. They own you. They want proof of that, just like my sister who likes to go every Sunday and play her violin. You didn't hear me screaming as she was driving my dad back and forth for his poison treatments. And this is after I'd already shown them colloidal, and this is going back to colloidal silver, hemp oil, and sodium bicarbonate, where my dad's cancer was in complete fucking remission a week into it. Even the doctors were shocked. I talked to my dad about this. But so deep is that programming that not only did my dad end up going through it, and he lasted 7 months. Like, he was in fourth stage. We're talking days to weeks here. And he managed to stay on what I was doing long enough to give him that, but I'll tell you, it was the radiation that wiped him out. And I wanted no part of it. And of course, I'm the evil one because I didn't take my dad to get killed. I wanted no part of it. And I watched as my home was stolen, and I had a supply of hemp for my brother-in-law that was in the freezer. By the way, I wonder what the cops got for it. It was 2 ounces. That was pure. That was a gift from someone. That was meant for my brother-in-law that he never got. I can go through the whole list and the whole myriad just to expose their egos and their selfish bullshit. Where someone who I made sure was kept safe so that she could keep a job. So she had a car that I bought for her. that she could do everything and maintain stuff. It's a small town where I am. I hear it all. I know the whole story. I know why she ditched me 2 weeks into solitary. I know exactly why. And I know why she would lock me outside the apartment that was actually as a net result of someone that I knew. She didn't want me in there because of the guilt. No, it would be better that I sit outside and freeze all day and then be content having a piece of floor to sleep on. And when I did go and visit someone, I get a phone call on Sunday, don't come back. So it didn't matter. I was left to hang and dry. And she'd be the first one to tell you that she paid for this and that and the other. No, she didn't. She went through about $15,000 worth of silver in a little over a month. I know. I was the one that cashed it. To make sure that all the theft from the Allied van lines, yeah, they're all criminals. The KRMC law firm, yep, they're all criminals. The Guelph police, yep, they're all criminals. Everyone that works at the fucking City Hall of Guelph, yep, they're all criminals. Guelph Mercury, Phil Andrews and the rest of the crew, there's a couple in there that they got their heads shaken up a little bit. They saw how much control was going on. Took them a little bit. Only took 28 days in fucking solitary for going back to my own home for one of these guys to figure it out. Oh, the list goes on and on and on. But you see, I wasn't just taking on these little-time petty thieves that like to go around stealing homes and destroying lives. I was exposing the whore of Babylon, Queen of England, the whore of Babylon, Pope whatever, the whore of Babylon, President whoever, Prime Minister whoever. These are all the archons. These are the soulless entities that are sucking you dry. So please, keep supporting them. Have your fun. And I challenge anyone in my family or friends, former, you want to take me on intellectually? How many times did you win at Trivial Pursuit? Right, never. Who wrote your grade 13 pass, Tim? Yeah, it was me. Emily, who wrote most of your essays? Who fixed stuff for you that you got A+ for? Oh, I can go on and on. Sue, who made it possible for you to get a world record, to be part of something? Who was there for you when everyone else ditched you? All your friends. I was there. I had a truck. I moved all your stuff from Oakville to a storage unit. And I'll tell you, during the last few weeks around the house, you were just too busy getting your shit out to make sure that you had all your stuff. Yes, I'm grateful that you have the dogs. They have a safe place to be. But I would never deprive you of your cats. I would never be so fucking heartless. I would never be so cruel. And that's what Scorpios that don't know who they are do. Oh yeah, backbiters. They talk a great story. And they love a great story too. They get right into it. Fucking drama queens love it too. Oh, the drama queens love that game. Oh, they're too busy satiating their own lustful egos. Their own hatreds. And that's fine. I know what it is. That's just program. See, I love you. I know you. You're that beautiful blinding light that's trying to come out of you. But you've got so much shit and garbage and crap in your universe, you don't know whether your arsehole's punched or bored. And don't worry, there's a tombstone with an all-caps name on it for you if you don't get out this time. Don't worry. I'm not going to wait around. I'm not going to wait around. I can only imagine the indoctrinations both my daughters have had to endure with my ex and ex-best friend. The total system indoctrinations. I mean, hey, I'm guilty of that too. Like I said, better late than never. Because I did a lot of work prior to getting kidnapped in the house and everything getting stolen from us. I did a lot of work. You see, my children's contracts were nullified in the spiritual realm. And I don't think these other people know that theirs have been as well. But they have to realize it for themselves. But then that's what people that are getting stabbed in the back and kicked while they're down, bleeding to death, typically do, I suppose. They go out of their way to still show love, to still have that hope that they'll get it. It doesn't matter to me. They're just a passing thought. And I can create them in my own image if I wish. Or not. It doesn't matter. Oh, the list goes on and on. I can go right back. Oh, I can go right back. That's not the point. The point is, these were the trials and tribulations that I had to overcome. These are all the things that I had to feel, to endure, to nullify. So like I just said there with regards to fear. Don't resist it. Accept it, know what it is, and deal with it. Like with my band, I used to deal with it by puking. I always cleared my throat. I always had all the range I needed after that. So there was a multi-purpose there. But here I am, transgendered, hiding in as uber a male role as I possibly could in so many ways. Fucking rock star, pilot, diver, you name it. General contractor, truck, whatever. I did all of that, and that's very typical of and you check out anyone that has this particular game piece going on, the whole two-spirit thing. And you'll see the same story over and over. That's what I noticed, and that's where I finally thought, oh, fuck, maybe everyone's saying the same shit that I'm thinking. So I was like, oh. So I looked deeper, and but I was still looking at it from the perspective, there's something desperately wrong with me. No, that's what the system wants. Anything that is not, normal, the system does its utmost to discredit, destroy, get people to hate. It's like looking across the counter from, say, a young lady that probably gets picked on a lot for her particular size, daring to smirk at me. I'm thinking, what, do you do that with retarded children? Is that how bad your programming is? That your own inadequacies have to get pointed out by smirking or something at another? I just smile at it because I know exactly what it is. That's your social programming. That's your peer pressure. Oh, they do everything they can to separate the boys and the girls to make sure that you are fucking separate. Woe betide the fool that actually puts those energies together and figures it out. That's kind of the job of beings like me. That's our role. That's what we do. It's that simple. Doesn't make us special, doesn't make us different, it just makes it what we do. It's an energy. Just a clue. I have no time for pedestals. I think the hardest thing for me to accept is the fact that my youngest, Hillary, all heart, I haven't heard from her. But she actually, to her credit, is the only one that actually friended me on Facebook. Sue? Nah. Emily? Fuck no. Anytime I ever texted any of them, one, I never got anything back from Sue. And that's fine. You lose, not me. Yeah, I can let go. I'm fucking dead in a ditch to you anyway. I mean, just because a holiday comes up, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'm not worthy of a, hey, how's it going? Everything okay? Everything fine? Kiss my ass or nothing. No, has to rely on a religious date where that guilt is just enough to give you an excuse, so it's not like you really give a fuck, but you can text or whatever to make it look like you give a fuck. But the problem is, I can see right through you. Seriously? Do you think I would shun you at a funeral? For someone you loved? Just because your misconceived notions of fucking reality? Yeah. Do you want to know what loneliness is? I'll tell you all about it. Because that's all any of you have ever offered me. When you weren't picking me clean for my creatives, you were picking me clean for things that you could use. Well, I had a truck, so everyone needed somebody to help move them. Fuck, I had more than my share of parasites working with me. Crazy ass shit. fucking former general contractor that I contracted to was busy shagging his fucking girlfriend in my basement when she was living there. Ended up knocking her up. This is a guy's born again Christian, supposed to be my fucking boss, working for the separate school board in Guelph, Wellington County. There's another whole fucking ball of wax there. Oh, the back page dealings in that place. I couldn't get rid of me fast enough. In fact, the very first job I had was at Ponderosa. They didn't want me anywhere near the office because there was a whole bunch of embezzlement going on. Showed up about a year later. Larry Curry and the swing managers, the two that gave me the most difficult time to try to drive me out of there, to the point where Larry Curry finally stands up and says, well, bring your uniform in tomorrow. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? I was 14 years old, and I've been doing this. Less than a year after leaving Ireland, because one, my sister had a psycho boyfriend, and two, I was raped for 9 months. Out of the frying pan into the fire. And I watched all my, quote, Canadian friends with all of their material bliss and everything else, while my mom and dad were struggling, and we had borrowed furniture, and there was next to nothing in the house. It was a rented townhouse. My mom did the same thing with family. We had her aunt and uncle staying with us and their whole family, up until the point where they had to sell the house because my mom was flipping. And this back in the early 70s, was flipping out $20 bills like they were candy. And go back, my dad was like, I think he was making $2 an hour. So 120 is a day's wage, And she was flipping them out left, right, and center. So when that parasiting was done, they fucked off, and, well, Mom and Dad started again. And I watched this whole thing go on for years. Even taking my dad's ashes back. I had a ticket fully paid for Sue. And the girls, they don't realize it was fucking over $6,000. And I had given up the business a year and a half. That was coming right out of pure savings. And I'm glad I was able to give my daughters that experience. I've got videotape of it. I still haven't got the heart to watch. Three days before we're supposed to leave, Sue backs out. Because she was afraid to fly. Well, she wasn't too afraid to fly to go to fucking Mexico, was she? No. I'll tell you an entirely different story than what you'll hear from these people. I'll talk about my sister-in-law, who was constantly conniving with her youngest. She was the oldest, with her, and my ex was the youngest. Constantly conniving with her. Oh, you would not believe the fractals that are going off in my mind right now. Watching all these intricate little daggers as they made their way to me. No, I'll tell you, all of these people, including the ones that were claiming to help me, as soon as I call people out, I get fucking emails. Well, this is going back a bit. Like my handing you $10,000 was my fault. Because you couldn't get me out of the fucking house fast enough after you got it in your hands. Only to prove that you could not succeed doing the same thing. But it's okay, I was left holding the bag, not you. You got all your little paint chips around the house. Who paid for that paint, guys? You still went ahead and filed bankruptcy? Idiots. That's the thing, is I don't even hear from these fucking people. That's what thieves do, though. They can't confront it when they do it. Did it matter that my ex came in and emptied out all the furniture? And it went into storage for, 8 months? Oh, had to get it out of there, though. All we're left with is one bed for Emily, and Hillary slept on a little pull-out couch. and I slept on a couch downstairs. The only reason she didn't take that is because it was, one, too heavy, and two, it was given. It was a little dirty. It came from a friend of mine. He was throwing it out. It was actually a nice pull-out bed. Oh, no, but she emptied everything else out, and it sat in her brother's garage for 8 months. That's the kind of loving people. And this is the same one that turns around, and I had a little bit of fun. I'm very grateful because I had a lot of fun with Jimmy Pietrangelo, who works for Smith Valeriot. By the way, Frank Valeriot, you know, these fucking lawyers are all MPs, right? Frank Valeriot's one of the most two-faced, backstabbing cunts on the planet. I'm calling that wanker out for what he is. He's a fucking piece of shit. You know, it's guys like that give the mob a bad name. There's no honor in that meat stick. There's no honor in anything in legal or lawyers. I read you that email the other day regarding someone that was actually part of this and said, no, I can't do it. That's honor. I have a funny feeling we're going to roll over tonight because this bitch is in a mood. Let's get these lines open. I've got Janet there, and Joe, you guys have been waiting patiently. I've got, I believe, 956. That's Manny, and I got Mike. Did I get it right, Manny?
Manny, sunny son.
There we go. Yep. Not bad. Now we're going to see if 802 is called in. Are we having fun tonight? Me calling out the... there we go. There's T. Calling out the bullshit. Guys, I'm not holding back any longer. What I did to that's supernova shit, because I'm fucking tired of it. These people that supposedly love me throughout my entire life haven't cared to even pick up a text to call. Didn't give a shit to respond. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because their guilt is so deeply embedded within them, because they know that the shit that they need to justify their own pitiful existences would dematerialize before their eyes if they, for 1 second, looked at the truth. And my daughters will hear all of the recordings from Tim and June. Oh, they're priceless. You should hear some of them. They're really funny, actually. If I get in a mood, I might even put them up on YouTube. Who knows? Doesn't that be fun? Let me see. Google Creative Gaia. You'll come up with about 7.5 to 8 million hits. Number one on the Google. And I could certainly put that as a number one search. I wonder how they'd feel about that. You want to be famous? I'll make you fucking famous. In all the ways you wish I wouldn't. If you are not with me, by definition, you are against me. If you are not for truth, which is what I am for, then you are nothing but a cock-sucking, whore of Babylon, tit-sucking liar. Go get a legal job. They need you.
Yeah, and one way. Yeah, go on, Janet.
I was going to say, Kate, you know, they are, in the literal sense, the motherfuckers, because it is exactly what's going on in terms of nature. Mm-hmm. They are the motherfuckers. You know, I don't get it. I don't get why it's so hard to get that across to people. It's so frustrating. You essentially just read the story of my life, you know.
I just told the story of many of your lives.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you anything you haven't experienced. I know this. Is why I share this so openly, because I know I'm talking to kin. People who know, people who have been through it.
Yep. And
every one of you have been hosed.
We've been kind of emotionally
we laugh
about it, where this is a gray area before. Okay, it's just like we just looked at it kind of gray, and it's just like, no, wait a second. Just like you guys reminded, you're a fucking asshole. There wasn't no gray area with that action or lack of action. And so it's like calling it what it is. And this is what people need to hear. No more hiding behind platitudes and a false smile. It's just like, no, you're out to harm someone. And that's it. Or you have harmed someone. Otherwise, it's they continue doing it to good people. And I'm not good. I'm not for that, man. And that's what people are waking up to. We're not for that. Continuing to do shit to good people and get away with it. And we know you're not getting away with it. It's just at the end of the day, well, I'm going to call you what you've been doing. And they've been hiding behind it. No, I'm a good Christian soldier. Or
you are.
Faithful whatever. I mean, and I call it, I said, don't hide behind God, don't hide behind religion, don't hide behind politics, don't hide behind the tree. You are what you've been doing, and you can, but it's his religion. No, he's a fucking asshole. Oh, it's his politics. No, he's a motherfucker. Oh, it's his upbringing. No, he's a fucking cunt. Get it straight.
Yeah.
Can he not be? Yes. He has the possibility to choose otherwise. But the modus operandi has been that for so long, it's almost like just digging their grave. Just digging their own grave. And, I have a heart. And so I'm like, okay, it's your choice, not mine for you, but freedom life. And go a little faster, asshole.
Oh, agreed. Hey, listen, we got 10 minutes to roll over. Anyone that wants to call in, we got some room for the rollover. I'm not sure how long we'll go. It depends on how much fire's still spewing out of me here. I'm making ashes, baby. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm creating all the ashes that I need for this phoenix to rise. And I'll burn every fucking bridge there is. So on that note, you can call in if you dare. I challenge any former family or friends that are listening in right now. I challenge each and every one of you to call in. Don't worry, I've got your laundry here. I'll wash it for you, live on air. Promise. Oh, I love washing laundry. Because, you see, I only know the energies. That's the difference. And the power that you have within that, just that serenity of being. Oh, I'll spin your little egos out left, right, and center, promise. 661-467-2401. And, of course, you can Skype in through the Blog Talk page. Hit the Skype button and follow the bouncing ball. You're all grown up. You figure it out. I'm tired of explaining it. Once you're on the board, you can hit 1 on your dial pad or hit the show dial pad on Skype. Play around with Skype. You'll figure it out. And hit 1 there, and that will let me know that you won in the chat. So, I'm done. I'm done with the mitten strings, guys and girls.
Yep. Get it off the chest.
I am so fucking done with it. And that being said, let me just share this, because this is all about flowing energy. In whatever form it is, it does not matter to me, because everything in terms of money is transmuted. Meat sticks, for the most part, don't get that, but that's okay. That's not their job. It's mine. So that being said, let's see if I got the right one here. I'm not sure if I do, but I'll figure it out shortly. Oh, I got the right one.
Yeah, you got it. About 20, 30 seconds, and the voices come in. Okay, it's beautiful. I'm thankful that you let it out. Got to express yourself, and it's their loss. The ones that don't love, it's their loss, and it's hard. It's their loss at the end of the day, and we love them, but they lose. And when you play in the fictional realm, you lose, even if you thought you were winning. And you took all our stuff. No, you still lost. You lost your soul. You lost yourself. Your soul's never been lost, but come back.
Their walls are falling. The momentum is now with us. It's our time now. At the most pivotal point in history is Critical Mass Radio, 24/7 Truth Radio. Help us to help you. Please go to www.criticalmassradio.co.uk and subscribe £1, £2 or £3 a month. The critical mass has been reached. We must come together. We must stand together. For ourselves, for each other, for our future generations. criticalmassradio.co.uk. Now, it's our turn.
Indeed it is. Again, guys, to call in if you wish, 661-467-2401. Just getting all the mics open here. I've got 905, just got yours open. And T, I just want to make sure I've got you open there.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, because we had an interesting little chat, and I told you, get off the phone. This needs to be on the air, right?
Yes, you did. Yeah, it was beautiful. And thanks for sharing all that. That was beautiful as well.
Well, that's what truth is, and as hard as it's going to be for some of these, people to hold on to, that's fine. Because I'll tell you, those that do not get it, and those that have taken part in condemning me for standing in truth, are of the same ilk as the Robert Davises, the Craig Nyes, the Kevin McCarts, and the Bailiff Steves. The rest of these fucking wankers. Hang on, Mike, just a second.
Yeah, go for it.
Fuck, man, I told you guys I need room tonight. I got a big truck driving. Okay, give me some room. I don't do this too often, and it is so very important, so vital that this gets out there, so that these people know who they are. I have to thank Neil and Cheryl for all of the effort they put into making sure that Tim and June could stab me in the back. Oh, I saw it in your eyes. I saw your self-judging, Neil. You've been that way your whole life. You're very quick to point out to people how wrong they are. I mean, you did that pretty much from day one I met you. What, 1968? You probably don't forget because you were too fucking young and stupid then too. No, I watched all of your judgments and how critically fucking important English you were. Yes, I was there. You were so fortunate to have the mother and father you had. Crazy ass shit, guys. And Sam, seriously? Fucking seriously? You couldn't wait to condemn me, could you? Run away. Go hang out with the rest of the lemmings that owns your feeble mind. Think back on your lives. When did I ever let you down? What creations were put in place for you all to partake in, to give yourselves a little bit different, a little bit more radical existence than this? Better make sure I have the St. Patrick's Day stuff. Better make sure I have the Valentine's Day stuff while you go around your little homes and you decorate them according to somebody else's fucking program. It just shows what a robot meat stick you are. Oh, it's all fun and games while I'm doing all sorts of fun musical things to give, you and those involved a beautiful life. To take part in things, to invite you into my world. To turn around. Not only shun me, but become so fucking paranoid that you shun your own godchildren. Fucking cowards. Lou, you're a fucking idiot. Mark, thanks for the TV that you took back. You guys could not get in there fucking quick enough to pick my bones clean. It didn't matter what situation I was in, did it, Lou? You had an inkling that you had a safe full of silver that if I didn't come through it, it was all yours. Then you're all about guns. I got family that's all about guns and all about fucking money. They're owned. My own sister, I could look in the eyes and tell her, well, you talk to me all day about church, but you ain't doing a fucking thing that Christ taught. Church is teaching you exactly the opposite. And I looked at the jaw drop. Yeah, you got no argument. I'll take on any one of the ministers. Even the minister at Dad's funeral got it, that he came searching me out. Because something I said triggered him. Oh, I have grown long weary of the backstabbers. So you will have your lot. I will give you all that I have left. And I will tell you, Emily and Hillary, to let you know what I went through to make sure that this moment would arrive, that you would get that. Didn't matter if I was sleeping in a tent or in a fucking ditch or in my car. It didn't matter to any of them. And oh, how quickly people turn around as soon as I'm not their savior. or as soon as they fuck up, or as soon as they think they can be the backstabber, they jump right on it. And for the record, Chris, I don't have your headphones. If you want a new pair, just ask, and I'll buy you a new pair. They were where they were left. Go get them yourself. Seriously, people? Really? Bunch of fucking thieves. And I'm grateful that my printer was stolen. If that's what it was. Because I don't need it. You're going to need it to try to save your home that I offer to help. There's a few people. They don't even take the fucking time to read this stuff. You know why I know that? Because they're still asleep. If they truly get what I'm talking about, they'll know they're untouchable. They'll know how to stand. No. Fucking senior babies. Makes me fucking sick. And I'm calling you out. And it's the first time since I wanted to be with you, versus being at home. Trying to show you how to avoid that. Now, that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to give you the fishing rod, bait the hook, and give you the best fishing hole. You expect me to sit there and catch your fucking fish, then fillet it and cook it and spoon feed it to you and make sure I don't get any on your fucking bib. You fucking children. Enjoy it. I tried to show you how to not go through it, but you obviously want to, so your wish is granted. I love you that much. I love you enough that you may hate me. And I hope you can hate me enough to find your own self-loathing within you, your own degraded sense of being. I dare you. Get your knives out, start tearing that shit away, and you'll see a whole different reality. So please, off my coattails. No pedestals. No fame by association, not with this chick. Sorry. You write your own book of life. I'm writing mine. And those that want to be part of it, by taking it, sorry. You're in the edited version on the cutting room floor. Go write your own. Have I not given enough? Have I not shown enough? Jesus Christ, it's so goddamn plain in your face. Anyway. Enough said. Your wish is granted. Unconditionally. With all the law of truth I can muster. From the most neutral of neutral positions of pure, dark, negative creation. Jump in here, guys.
Now, what was your horoscope for today?
Oh, I have no idea. It's probably got the card 16, the tower, on it. Actually, it's funny because I did a spread this morning, and it set out the day for me that the final outcome was Camland. Oh, I have to create. Here, let me read Camland out to you guys. Here's what I'm creating. I follow my cards. Okay, I'm supposed to create some Camland. I'm in. Fuck, I'm in. I can do that. Here, I'll tell you what it is. Meaning. It's Ten of Swords, Camland. Troubles, conflict, the underlying animosity of the past gives way to an all-out offensive. And I hope I certainly am offensive. The climax and end of a chapter. Yep. Book closed. This card generally indicates strife and division within a community. You've no idea, baby. Unfortunate events spark intense conflict. Well, no conflict. That's theirs. A showdown. No, well, maybe between them. I changed that TV channel. The clash of ideas. Well, some that have some and some that don't. Release and the destruction of an old order. Well, I'd say I did a pretty good job with that hammer tonight. Don't you think?
Yeah, you did.
The inevitable exhaustion of a cycle gives way to a new era. The dark day cometh when brother turns against brother. So, there you go. All yours. I just deliver the message. That's it. I'm just a fucking messenger.
Me too, Kate. I got the same card today. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I follow my road. Interstate 60. Oh, look, Camland. I get to play tonight. I love this. So I was thinking maybe I have text and the numbers to text. I mean, it'd be very very easy for me to just click in, just letting you know to pass a message along that the owner of this phone is dead, and leave it there just to see what happens. Because I'm a cunt that way. And I'll let it ring off the hook. I'll delete all the texts. I'll leave them all hanging just like they left me hanging. Number 12, the hanged man. Well, I tell you, when you're hanging, Judas, the shit falls away real quick. But I mean, there's that taken for granted. You know, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Pave paradise, put up a parking lot. Fuck, you've been parking all over me for the entirety of my life. Every one of my supposed friends have parasited and leached something from me. Some a lot more than others. I mean, it wasn't enough that my buddy Tim always ironically dated the friends of people I was dating. Isn't that funny? Sloppy seconds. That's so... Sacking my wife, I wasn't surprised at all. That's the way he always was. Guy's a walking, talking penis. I already knew that. You got to remember, I've been walking this beautiful between the worlds, you know, as a transgender, and I'm always looking, and I got to tell you, for the most part, all the guys I ever hung out with, very few that I know, and all the pictures of them flash through my mind. They're beautiful beings. We're fucking pigs. That's all they are, pigs. And a lot of the women weren't much better. It's kind of funny how that works. You know? Oh, yeah, I made my share of mistakes, but I sure as fuck learned from them right quick. I said, no, not something I would ever do again. And it's even more difficult now being in a seeing only an energetic thing, because people are still stuck in this physical. They still think there's bodies walking around here. I see dead people. That's all I see. And I know the living when I find them. Because they're wide open. They're pure points of life and love and source. Seriously? You spend almost 3 decades with somebody? And it's not even worth a text to see if you're still alive? Fuck, I almost froze to death tonight, and I even called my ex that had my daughters. Do you think she'd offer a place for her, or better yet, to sleep on the couch that I bought? Do you think? Nah, freeze, you fucker, freeze. She has no idea what I went through to make sure that those girls weren't alienated from her. Clinging so tight. I told her one night, you got to stop fighting. You have to let it go. It's all good. It's about the girls here. We are inexorably joined for this lifetime. Those girls. But she only saw them as possessions. The only reason my youngest exists is because I fought to have a second child. In the last 10 years of marriage, I can count on one hand. I remember the night that daughter was conceived. No. It was all about the Joneses. Wasn't enough that as a kid she liked to steal candy and stuff from the store just like the rest. Oh, she didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. I don't forget. Fuck all. I don't forget that she was a tantrum-throwing little brat. And seriously, really? Think about this, guys. Okay, here's a mirror for you. Mike, let's say you go up to your father-in-law. Okay, you've known for what? Oh, I don't know, 5 years? And you ask him, you do the right thing. You ask him for permission to marry his daughter. And he looks at you and says, well, she's not pregnant, is she? What does that say?
Oh, fucker.
What does that say? Oh, well, that's what you think of me. Oh, okay. Okay, well, what is it, 5 years plus we're in here? And or I think it was 3 then, and we had 2 years before we ended up getting married. Oh, so that's all you think about? Really? Thank you for thinking so highly of me. I'll tell you, my late mother-in-law loved Helen, loved her. Oh, my oldest daughter has got a combination of my mother's name and my mother-in-law's name. Helene, from Helen and Pauline. Hélène. Go figure, Helen of Troy, right? Just a coincidence. That's where that came from. And Helen, I could talk with her for hours and hours on end. She was the only rational, sane point. And never mind the fact that the oldest, Judy, she went fucking schizoid, ended up in the loony bin, and it was herself and another family member that pulled her back from the abyss. Well, good thing I pulled her back so she could throw a knife in my back a few times. Oh, yeah. I remember the last Christmas, Judy. Oh, nice setup, baby. You made sure there was conflict so that you could all bolt back to your place and leave me and the 2 girls wondering what the fuck just happened. Yeah, that's your conniving, selfish way. That's why you work in human resources, because you're a fucking parasite. You're a vampire. That's your nature. I see right through you. I mean, hell, Sue wouldn't even have her job right now if it wasn't for the cafe. She made contacts through that ended up working out for her for the job she's at right now. She wouldn't be driving the car right now because, well, I bought it for her. She wouldn't be living where she is because of if it wasn't for the connections of diving and flying that I had that she was able to access and utilize. See, that's the problem when people cannot create. As soon as somebody else creates for them, all they want to do is deny any form of creation so that they can build themselves up by stealing it. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. It's just, and it's all programmed. This is the joke of it, right? The irony here is they're actually thinking I'm talking about them, but I'm not. I'm talking about their programs. I know what the personality DNA program matrix is. And caught in it. And they'll keep being caught in it until they either figure it out or they go into complete non-existence. Have a look at the movie The Green Lantern. Fear. What does fear do? It absorbs the essence and destroys the existence of the being. And that's what ends up. Listen, we need stuff to make universes with, so I'll just use that. Make some nice rocks with that. Can you imagine being a conscious rock? Can you imagine how much fun that will be? Well, keep walking the same paths you're all walking. Don't listen to the teachers. Certainly don't listen to me. There's the joy of it, too. I don't want you to believe a goddamn word I'm saying. Go look for yourself. And guys, do not ask me about legal shit and all the rest of it. Your mitten strings are off. You're kicked out of the fucking nest. Everything you need is on the website, and I keep adding to it as we go. So not only you want me to, do all the fishing and baiting the hooks and catching the fish and all the rest of it, feed you, make sure your bib is clean, you want me to do the fucking dishes too? And then you turn around and take credit for it? Do you know why these documents don't work for some people and work brilliantly for others? Because the ones it works for are the ones that get the concepts. The ones that don't are the ones that are still wearing diapers. And I don't care if you're 20 or fucking 60. You're still in diapers. You're still looking for someone to wipe your ass for you. And if you're lucky enough, you might still have your mommy and daddy to do that for you. You might look, or even better yet, punch a gift horse in the mouth. And then you might even be helped out immensely, only to come back and say, well, I could use some of your donations. See, that's all you ever see of me. How your greedy little fucking ego needs to feed itself. I'm not going to feed that shit. That's the joy of where I'm at right now. Is it's beautiful. Not a fucking string to be found anywhere near this place. I tell you, last night the silence was deafening. I hadn't heard silence that loud in years. And I guarantee it's going to be the same tonight. My gratitude is boundless. I'm grateful for all of the shit that I went through. I get to reflect that same mirror back. Can you handle it? And if you can handle it, great. And if you can't, great. I stay the course. You're not my concern. I don't care if you're my daughters. I don't care if you're anything blood relative or friend or whatever. While you have an ego program running, you are the enemy to love. Not me. I have none. I don't want to create enemies. That's not my intent. My intent is to show people how to destroy their needing an enemy within them. If you've got conflict, you have an enemy. Me? Every one of these people that I've mentioned, and there are countless more, if they ever came to me needing help, what do you think my answer would be? Of course. It's because I know who you are and I know who I am. And that shit you got running on, that ain't you. No, that ain't you. So I'll get the chainsaw and have some fun with the egos. I'll give Fluffy a little ride. She's good. Very powerful little tool. Because you can kind of mock stuff up, get in and go, yeah, that worked. And then, how am I going to get this to go back? Oh, I'll use that. Okay. And that's all I do. And I sit, most times when I'm writing, especially when I write stuff to the fucking meat sticks at the Guelph cops or the OPP or the Toronto cops or fucking Ministry Attorney General wankers, presidents, queens, fucking Elizabeth Moore over there and fucking Francis, the rest of these geeks, right? I love writing that stuff because it's fun. There's no animosity in it. Oh, there was at once, but not now. It's too funny. Can you just imagine the squirming that goes on? How much terror they feel? Can you imagine those three cops the next day and what they're thinking tonight? They're still wondering what the fuck hit them. Truth, that's what hit you. You got exposed for the little doggy that you are. Go fetch the treats. Oh, did you know your plates are expired? They're not my plates and I'm not a taxpayer. Fuck off. I'm on a radio show. Get out of here. Oh, better call backup. Better call Mako. Yeah. And they show up. Oh, you're not going to identify. Oh, you're not going to identify. Oh, you're not. No, fuck off. Get out of here. I'm on the air. I was very polite. I even told the guy, I wish you no harm. Thank you.
Hey,
have a good night. Yeah,
you know what I noticed? I listened to the recording, and I was fascinated. And what I was fascinated about was you, Janet, and Richie doing the alphabet. And showing the mirrors and showing the opposite and flipping it down. And I was just like, wow. And then I noticed that you skipped F when the when the fucker came, man.
Well, I was a little busy with my fa note at that point, I suppose.
I know. So out of that, I was just like, listening to all that, and I was just like, wow. And then I was just like, hey, wait a second. Because it was just, and you continued. You guys were going to the next letter. You got like halfway. I think you got up to, I forget what you finally ended up going to, but I noticed, hey, we missed doing F because of those guys interrupting.
That's okay. Well, I've talked about F many times in the past, right?
Yeah. And it was beautiful how you guys were showing it, how you flip it the opposite, and then you go up and down, and like the Coptic key, and then Richie going with the P and the B and the Y and the H, and you and Janet also, and it was quite just a beautiful, lovely conversation that I was just like, wonderful how you continued on with it. It was just, can't even upset that beautiful truth shining forth. Thank you, guys.
No, again, I mean, that whole time, too, I got all these little insects swarming around, you know? I got to tell you, when the tow truck came driving in, I didn't even know the cops had already bolted. They already fucked off. Tow truck driver came in, pulled around, and right back out again, right back where he came from. Oh, dragging the curse of theft behind him. Wouldn't want to be the owner of that company. Because I'll tell you right now, any wish of harm against me is 1,000-fold mirror against you, because I only wish you love, truth, knowledge, wisdom, freedom. Get the fuck out of the trap. Mm-hmm. Again, if you are not for truth, then you are against me. Magnetic electric, purest form.
Kate?
Yeah, go ahead.
You asked a question the other night, a couple nights ago. How is a raven like a desk, a writing desk?
Yes.
And I never heard the answers, so I thought about it, and I did come up with one.
Okay.
They both have feathers on them.
Yep, both quills. And let's go even deeper in the anagogic. For me, raven represents cause. And writing represents cause, right? A ritual, to write something. So they are both anagogic at that level of creating cause. And when you get your raven or your crone back, then you have your writing desk back as well. Your ability to write. So in order to capture the in order to have the writing desk work, you must capture the raven. And in order to get the raven to work, you must have captured your ability to write again too. So it's a perfect double cross. Quite brilliant. And I got to tell you, as soon as I heard that the first time, I was kind of, and this is a while back when I first saw it, and then I watched it again. I know what they mean by that, because there it was. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Quills. What are quills? Right? Feather pens. Take a quill from a raven. There's your cause.
Yeah, back in the day when the book was written, that's what they used. Or quill pen. And
it's still completely, and it always will be, relevant right now. Just depends on where you're standing, how you're looking at it, what's your point of view. Is it open or is it closed? And this table, I love watching all of these open perspectives. Come in from angles.
Kate,
yeah, go ahead.
And then you always mention, almost in every show, you make your bed, so you lie in bed, and then you lay your head on a pillow, and you put feathers inside pillows.
Yeah, there's
so
there you go.
Mercury thing.
No, you're absolutely right.
I've just been pondering those two feathers. The polarity that's been in my mind. But so soon enough, we cross our threads, and beautiful. It's gone. It's just,
well, what is a quill?
I like that too.
Look at what a quill is. It was
a riddle, but now it's the riddle of the Sphinx again.
All the same story. What is a quill? Quill is not something. Yeah, a quill is not something you want to get stuck in your skin. Talk to a porcupine; they'll tell you all about it. Okay. And if you piss off a beaver enough, it'll cut through one of your arteries and kill you. But anyway, the quill again is a defensive weapon from an animal. So there's nature showing you what a quill is all about. Right your rights, but you need to separate from the illusion of the fiction, which is all things system.
That's right.
And only when you get that truly within your heart will you get your cause back. And only when you can accept responsibility for the bullshit stupidity that the ego has done. It's not you, it's the personality. You got to break free of that. So this is why you have not done a damn thing wrong. It was all part of the program.
No.
Just like all of the people, family, and everything else, they haven't done a damn thing wrong. But I'm not going to say. Hang on, I'm going to say them as beings, as egos. They would love to hear me say that. Oh, see, I didn't do anything. No. See, you're still hearing with your ego. You search your heart. And here, tell you what. Let's change roles here, and let's see how you would stomach it. That's a different story, right? Because I can look at their point of view as me. I've always done that. I always put myself in the other shoes to get that perspective, to see how the peace and the balance can be kept. Even with the most belligerent of idiots. I tell you, talking to an ego.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Talking to an emotional ego is like trying to rationalize. No, you're not driving tonight to a drunk. All right, I'm fine. Sure you are, crash. You know. No, I don't. Homie, don't play that game, bitch. Read an interesting thing from Balthasar today, and I thought it was rather interesting in that the aphorism went along. Oh, thank you. The aphorism went along the lines of be shining in your excellence, but don't come at it from the I'm excellent perspective. Speak it ordinary. And I think that's what we do at this table is we define excellence, but we talk ordinary. That's where the truth will show through. Listen, you know what? Man, I've seen so many salesmen. This is why COINTELPRO is so easy to spot. I hung out with used car salesmen, man. I hung out with, throughout the course of my life, I've had people around me, millionaire types and lawyers and all the rest of it, and I've heard all their shit spewed. And the good part is I never forgot. Actually, one of these guys was a real estate guy, ended up murdering a mother and a daughter, burning them to death. One of these guys. This guy was a real piece of shit. I used to see one of his buddies that used to come in where I had food rights to a hotel, where he'd come in and on occasion be beat up because he obviously didn't pay off his drug connections. You know? I've had the leader of Satan's choice turn to me and say, you know what? You take care of my people well. Any time or anything you need from me, I'm not going to say who it was. Let's just say well known. So anytime you need some help, you let me know. I appreciate what you do for my friends. I'm happy to serve. I've been in so many different arenas on all levels. This is what it means to be the everyman. I do not see a separation. I don't see a separation in color. I don't see a separation in religion. I don't see a separation in culture or class or whatever is deemed to be the illusion of the divide and conquer. And I do grow weary. I really grow weary. I'll pull up stuff on occasion. You know, people making remarks regarding a different culture, whatever. It's so childish. Let's play the pot calling the pan black ass all day long and see where that gets us. I see the purity of everyone and everything. The ego, well, that's what my chainsaw's for. And the good news is, if the ego can't, the ego's going to fuck off. Then, of course, the ego's going to turn around and start throwing knives at me because they don't understand what the intent was because they never bothered to ask. They've concocted it in their own minds, out of their own guilt, out of their own greed, out of their own necessity of control. Must have control. Fuck your control. No time for that.
That's all of human history summed up.
Well, yeah, that's what they teach at school. They teach all about wars. They teach all about, pestilence and death, murder, mayhem. And they teach it to the degree that, well, this is normal history. It's normal for the royals to slaughter each other for power. That's all I learned in history in the UK. Okay, well, this week, what king is killing what nephew and what queen is getting bludgeoned to death by what wannabe ruler? Jacobian, Stuart, whatever the case may be. You know? You got that fat fuck, Henry VIII. What a pig. Just because he was inadequate, he decides off numerous wives' heads. You know, and these are the people that you're supposed to look up to in history, and they fucking teach it like you should. I'm looking at it going, these guys are insane. They're psychotic.
They are.
I mean, and really, people were surprised that Princess Diana got off because she was dating a son of an Arabian king. Oh, there's no fucking way the royals would let a, quote, raghead, unquote, into their fucking circles of elitists. Are you kidding me? You want divide and conquer, just have a look at the system. I mean, fucking Prince, what's that fag's name? Edinburgh, Duke of Edinburgh. And his crony bitch. Yeah, not fuck Charles Big Ears. Don't worry about that wanker. He's powerless. Well, I'm sure they all show up, and they're all talking about animal rights activism and all the rest of it. Meanwhile, on one weekend, one day, go out and kill 50 wild boar in France, and a whole array of different birds, endangered species. And these are the people you look up to? These are the flags that people wave? These rags that they put up on the flagpoles are not even worthy of wiping my ass with. And you got people with their hands across their chest swearing allegiance to a dumb fucking cloth. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the... To the what? To the flag? I pledge allegiance to a box of fucking Cheerios, okay? That's what you're doing. Like, holy shit, have a look around. And you still see these people, supposed truthers talking about Constitution this and Constitution that. Give your fucking heads a shake. Have a look what's really going on, Larkin Rose. I love you. You got lots of passion. Try to focus it. Stop reaching to the system looking for answers from someone because you're too afraid to actually have your ego impinged by a little tranny, mouthy bitch like me. Sure, avoid me. Run away. Don't worry, I'll still be here when you come back. I'm not going anywhere. I'm stable. I'm not going anywhere right now. Go ahead.
Hey, Kate, can you hear me? Joe here.
Hey, Joe, how are you? Hanging in there, baby. I love it.
Yes. For the time. Perfect expression. Yesterday, when such a beautiful session at the table, when that guy started to play at 432 hertz.
Oh, Ryan.
Within, Ryan, there you go. What amazing frequency that brought the table to.
Right?
And when he played, I had this spontaneous cry from my heart. It just was pure bliss as well as release. And then this morning when I was meditating, I went out to the world and just observed the planet from out in the galaxy and got shown clearly, look at this planet, and I could see it's this beautiful planet that we live on. And then I was shown like all the people on the planet are like TV receivers. It's being tuned into a frequency that creates this program, which has got this effect running around. And that tuning in of that receiver to the high frequency of love, like 432 hertz, is pure truth. It's just pure recognition. And the more that this table is tuning into that, of course, the creation of that frequency is getting such a hold on the planet. And the contrast is what you're saying. Here we are, you say, stay tuned in, stay sharp. It's like get your mind as a tool, use it to sharpen it, to tune into that love channel, the 432 frequency. I watched Happy Feet last night, and there was the love. So brilliant. There's so many analogies in that, He's different. He stood up. The whole thing, So here's this love channel that I got in this meditation as well. It's like, stay sharp. Use your mind as a tool. Don't tune into the drama of the days of our lives and all the other crap that's being programmed at that lower level frequency. Be the observer. Don't identify with the ego, with that channel, with that tuning that we've been constantly held at a frequency that, have been, not now. The observer, the ego cannot observe. It doesn't know how to from its place of the ego. We tune into the right brain, we tune into the neutral state, and from there, from that central place, that we are always tuned into the frequency of love. That's where we create. That's where this table is creating phenomenally. And I remember clearly there was a cyclone coming up north, and the TV channel, they had the news on. It's going to be a Category 1. It's horrific. It's the worst we're going to see. We had the Premier of the state on. They had all this drama, and I was sitting in front of it watching my husband, and I said to him, why watch this? They're just creating it. Like, it doesn't have to be this. This is fucked. I was so angry with it, and I was angry with it. He was watching it, go, look at it, look at the what do you call it, when it was getting lower and lower in its, creating higher, it's going to go into a cyclone that strong. I went, fuck that. I walked upstairs, sat in the room, and I went, right, I just meditated on dissipating the whole energy. I called on the elementals, water sprites, you name it, and I went, and I just saw it going, and I knew that I was that powerful, and I am that powerful, that I could dissipate it. I got up the next day, and it came in as a little blowout, and they even tried to put in video from an old cyclone to make it seem like it, it did do some damage, and didn't really even talk about it. That's the power of that knowing and that creative energy. That's the power of this table, to focus, sharpen our minds so that it can tune in.
Can we take it up another level?
Yep.
I'm gonna. Every time I see a storm, that's me. That's my. This is how I look at my game piece. I'm a duality Cowalk, which is a duality storm. So anytime I see a storm, that's my baby. Let rip. So I take responsibility for the storms because it's in my sign to do so. I take responsibility for the dragons because it's in my sign to do so. It takes a storm to destroy one, and it takes a dragon to kill one, and it takes a serial killer to take out a serial killer. And I will tell you from the perspective only of think like one, understand how these psychotics think. Otherwise, they're going to keep controlling you because you're going to keep getting tricked. Me, I'm thinking, okay, it's certainly not something I would want to do or want to be, but if I'm going to catch them, I better learn the tricks of their trait. So I've been the very cautious, very patient, ever diligent observer of this psychosis to see what it's doing. This is why the COINTELPRO for me is like that. I can, COINTELPRO. There's a carrot attached, physical meat stick. I don't care what it is in the physical realm. That's a carrot. That's COINTELPRO. That's the high priest telling for. So I love what you did, Joe. Thank you. So if you want to really flip that energy over, just say that bitch Kate's at it again. And it's a truth storm, baby. It's a tsunami of tsunamis.
Anyways, after listening,
go ahead.
Listening to you guys talk about writing music in A432, I went out and did the same thing. See what it sounds like.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. So can I
takes
play
a little
like
bit of
it
takes a bit of getting used to.
Do you mind if I play you the first couple bars? Just so
would you?
Sure.
Thank you.
I don't know how it'll sound over a phone, but
that'll sound great.
There's not enough love between us.
Love it.
There you go.
Love it. Hey, listen, and thank you, because between you and Ryan last night, see, this is one of the joys of having been involved in the original scene for so long. I could always tell the difference between someone who is trying to toot their own fucking horn and look at me, drama, because I came across them all the time, and those that were just genuine. And that's what you and Ryan have conveyed to me. So I would even say to both of you, if you can get a reasonable recording of those, I would be more than happy to put them on the board, and we can play them where people can hear them without all the background stuff and all the rest of it. And I only offer that to those that aren't interested in tooting their own fucking horns, right? And I'll tell you, it's not about what you say, it's not about what you do, it's about what I feel. Because you, I'm talking everybody in my universe, will always present yourself before you open your fucking mouth. I already know you. And this is what terrifies people around me. This is when I know when people are trying to jump on my coattails yet again. And I've watched it for too long. And I've watched for too long. And guys, by the way, these are not victim stories. These are victor stories of seeing the absolute ludicrous nature of humanity. Don't see these as trials and tribulations. Not now. Not now. We are too deep into this. We are too far along to understand what is really going on here, to buy into that paradigm of emotional bullshit. I'm not sorry for anything I've been through. I am most grateful. The hard part for those that still have to get there is they have to go through this to get where I'm sitting and where many of you are sitting right now, in a state of unconditional going, that was cool. I experienced that. And now I choose what I wish to experience. And if those that wish to experience me as a, left for dead, then they will experience that until they can come to terms with it. No, I will not shun them. No, I will not shut them out. But I'll be goddamned if I'm going to sit and listen to any ego diatribe of defense. I just hit delete. I'll wait till you get it. Because you won't get an answer from me. The only time you'll get an answer from me is when we're finally meeting on that field of broken dreams on that island that says everything's okay. And for you, I will do it willingly. It's really that simple.
Well,
I forgot your name. What?
Michael from Richmond Hill.
Michael, yes. Sorry, Michael. Yeah, listen, give me a copy if you can. I'd love to be able to share that in proper audio. And Ryan, if you're tuned in tonight, sorry I didn't have room on my Facebook to add you, but as soon as one comes up, you're in. Please feel free. And we do this. I jam any day of the week, man. You're in Richmond Hill? Fuck, man. Why aren't we jamming?
Email address too? What is it?
Oh, get on Skype. Skype's so much faster. Email takes forever to download.
Yeah.
Yeah, just transfer the file in Skype. And try to crush it down as small as you can in an MP3. One, because of bandwidth, and two, because of what Blog Talk allows. I think it's only a maximum of 100 meg, which I highly doubt even with a waveform you'd have that. But the smaller the better, so if you can do that, that would be great. But again, the old... What are they?
They're like 5-10 megs when they're MP3s.
Yeah. They're small files as MP3s. Yeah, typically a meg a minute for an MP3.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You've had a very interesting life, Kate, and it's made you what you are.
Exactly. Exactly.
I've also had a very interesting life too, and
look how beautiful you are.
I didn't even get a birth certificate until I was 5.5, so I was fortunate never to get vaccinated until they forced it as a requirement to go to school.
Well, yeah, that's because Mom and Dad were in the system. This is where we are born into that original sin. Well, Mom and Dad, this is a responsibility of all moms and dads. It's not about getting your kids out of the system. That's why I laugh at these people. I don't want my kid registered. Well, fuck you. You're registered, and your wife's registered, and you're using a registered fucking hospital, and you're trying to dictate to your masters? You slave? Sort yourselves out. Remember what it says in an airplane. Before an airplane goes down, get your fucking oxygen mask on first, then put it on the kid. You dipshit, you're doing it all backwards. So I love it. Thank you for that.
They weren't in the system either. They were from Greece.
I guarantee you they were in the system. Because it would never have happened to you if they weren't, my friend. That's a spiritual fact.
Yeah, they got into it after when they came to Canada.
Right. So they were in it. That's That's what I'm saying. Once you invite the vampires in, they will feast on you until you kick the mofos out. I kicked them all out. That's why they ran away 2 weeks ago. That's why they ran away from Janet yesterday. That's why they couldn't hold on to Ouija. That's why my friend Mike, they couldn't hold him half an hour. They couldn't hold because, you see, this is where you become as slippery as an eel. This is where you become as clever as the serpent. I think a teacher taught us that, right? You must be as wise as the serpent. Know thyself, love thine enemies, love thine no vengeance. Don't expect to win any battles if you're not willing to learn. I mean, this is Sun Tzu. This is basic shit. A war is won before it even gets to the battlefield.
That's the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah, so I win my wars in my heart first. I take the wolf of anger and fear and greed, the ego, and the one of love, the spirit, and I sit them down together and I go, okay, we're going to get along here. Because the more you work together, the more both of you benefit in that singularity. So it ends the war of the left and the right. It ends the war of the roses within you. You got to end that war within you. And this is a shout out to all parents. All parents. Don't think for 1 second you're going to get away with your kid not being registered if you haven't removed yourself from the system. That's why both my girls are free. There is nothing in that system that's going to override my intent. Nothing. And they can play with all the legal stuff all they want. It has no spiritual joinder. That's the kind of prick and bitch that I am, to make sure. And that applies to June. That applies to Sue. That applies to my sister, my nephews, and any blood relative of me. I've already removed all those spiritual contracts. And when I remove them from mine, I remove them from their own. They don't know it. It doesn't matter. Won't they be surprised when they go, oh, holy shit, thanks. You're welcome. That's what I'm doing. That's why I took on this stupid system.
Yeah, well, I didn't learn until it was too late.
You learned in perfect time. That's the game. We all get into the game, Michael. You've done a great job. Look where you are now. Never mind. See, there are no regrets with me. Not a one. Because I know everything was perfect. All things for a reason. I just learned to accept all things. You have not made one mistake in your reality. What you've done is given yourself a contrast to see truth even deeper. And that's what means to becoming more aware and more aware and more aware. Because you are Aquarian, you now know. It's a level of knowing that we're achieving here. It's not about believing shit anymore. I don't believe shit. What's that?
How did you know I was Aquarian?
Well, there you go. Just a lucky coincidence, I guess, huh? Yeah, man, we should hang out. You gotta love the air signs to get those together. It's definitely gonna be a go fly your kite. So tonight, let's go fly a kite, shall we?
Okay.
So I'm gonna roll out of here, guys. But any last comments from anybody? We still have a few minutes left here. We can go the distance, but I'm just letting you know that we've only got a few minutes. And jump in.
Okay. Who's left on the board here?
Got Manny, Sunny Sun, and we have Joe, and we have Mike. I feel like I'm in Romper Room. And we have T, and we have Luigi.
Remember
T? Oh, fucking right, man. Yeah, Romper Room. And I see a dirty little Pope, and I see a dirty little Queen Elizabeth, and I see a dirty little Obama, and I see all you dirty little vampires, and you're all caught. You're caught in your own webs of deceit now. Sticky, huh? And that's me there with the wheel turning and cranking it tighter and tighter and tighter. Bring it, fuck on, bitch. You want to play with creation? Then you play with me.
I'm just waiting for the day I can say Babylon has fallen.
It is. It's done. Say it now. Be now. I think it's a great idea. I will agree with you. Babylon has fallen.
Babylon is falling.
I'm good.
That's
that inspires me. I think I may write a song about Babylon has fallen.
I would say is. Put it in the now. Has is a past tense. Put it in the now. Think now, baby. Start losing all these little, past tense things that we've been programmed with, and the future tense things that we get in the now with it. Babylon fell.
All. Okay. Yeah, maybe I can have it ready for tomorrow.
Isn't it fun how feel and fell can be spelled F-E-L-L? Just harden the E in F-E-L-L, and you got feel.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works, eh? The fallen angels. That's what it means to follow anything or anyone. You follow your own yellow brick road.
Oh. Who's next?
Hey, you know what, guys?
Thought is the most powerful force in the universe, so, and you're saying it all tonight. It's beautiful.
And not a single regret, and everyone that I've called onto the floor, I don't care who you are. I don't, because I know that I'm not talking to anything but a, stuck-up little ego that still has its head up its ass. Yeah, I'm really going to pay attention to that.
You're just talking to yourself.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
That's what I said. I'm going to call in and talk to myself tonight.
Yeah, isn't it great? Here we are, all these little points of view, thoughts in the all mind going, wow, we're figuring this out, And what's happening is all of those other little sleepy points of consciousness are neurons that aren't connected to anything, so they're free radicals, if you will. Well, I'll show you what a radical does to a radical. But seriously, guys, look, I mean, I don't know what it is about these supposed, and I only speak of Christians because that's the one I grew up in, right? What part of Jesus was a fucking radical didn't you get? I mean, the guy was in kicking over the bankers' tables. He was calling out the Pharisees, the lawyers, the scribes. He was kicking shit out of Babylon. And of course, well, let's make the crucified one their savior, and then we'll put up a big effigy, big icon, larger than life, with his bloodied body hanging on a fucking cross to remind everybody that if you follow what this guy did, this is what's going to fucking happen to you. Yeah, Bill Donahue does such a great job on that. He's done that a few times where he talks about his upbringing. Boy, that guy had it pretty wild. That's why I love this guy, because this guy's been through the mill. Like, he's seen some serious shit, Like, seriously, walking in to find your dad hanging himself? How old is he, 15? Holy shit. And look at the peace and the love that comes out of that man's heart. It's beautiful. How can you not resonate with that? It's one of the reasons why that's one of my most stable datums here, is because I know the truth in that man's heart. And Joan, too, the both of them. They're peas in a pod, those two. And there's so very few out there. I mean, even when I was talking with him on the air, there was a lot. I know there was a lot of profound things that I shared with him. I'm returning the gift he gave me of the allegory, and I'm taking it to anagogic. And actually, it's funny. I haven't had a chance to talk with him since. I guess I am kind of scary, though. Fucking terrifying. Oh, no, the tranny queen. Oh, fuck. Oh, man. I'm just here to make your day interesting. How am I doing?
Fucking crazy.
It's beyond humorous, isn't it? Are you getting the joke yet?
Did you unmute me? Huh.
I'd like to say good night to everyone. I got to run.
Okay, much love, and thank you. Tune's great. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Okay, Michael, you take care. Alvita.
Hi.
I know a sexy Gemini when she shows up on my board. What's up with you, baby?
Oh yes. Oh yes, ready to dance. Do the dance, baby.
Okay, from one Gemini to another. Okay, how was the Geminian spirit from me tonight?
Oh, right on point, right on time, because that's the energy flowing now. I tell you, yes, I'm feeling it. You did great. I was like, oh, she on fire. Oh yeah, the phoenix is rising.
Oh, like I said, I got some burning to do to get some more ashes here, and that's all I'm doing. Just shred, burn, baby.
Yeah,
the house is on fire.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I think the faster we burn through this shit, right? Seriously, this is what it is for me. It's about burning all this emotional shit. Get rid of it. And the faster you can burn through it, the more ashes you have, and when you get there in that beautiful neutral, now you got some phoenix action. Now you got the risen, right? And no one messes with the riz.
Oh no. Yep, I'm feeling that energy though. A lot of people speaking on the energy, and I could tell it's out there. So everybody better look out. Be alert.
I gotta tell you, it's nights like tonight, and what I'm doing for me is standing on both sides at the same time and taking my fluffy tool and utilizing it to carry the concept from a completely neutral spiritual position. So it's like I've got this, side-by-side fluffies, one spirit, one physical ego, and they're going, this is great, let's pull this buggy. And they're working together in tandem, It's awesome.
Yeah, killing them softly,
Oh, yeah. Walk softly and carry a big stick, Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Why? Because I'm going to be beating your ego over the head with it, that's why.
Oh, my God.
Oh, go ahead. Try and offend me. Please. Please. You can't. That's the joke, right? What are you going to call me? Mouth tranny? What are you going to say?
Right.
Oh, look at your legs. Yeah, I know. I piss a lot of women off. My legs are hot. I get it.
Yeah.
What a joke. What a joke.
Yes. I'm thinking it's like there's no way you can insult somebody who knows exactly who they are and where they're coming from. You can't do it. You can't. Yep, that's a good feeling.
Well, it's who you are. You are all creation. You are the master of your ship. You are the commander, the captain at the wheel. And we've had our wheels taken over. We're taking them back.
Now we know where we're going.
Exactly. Not on my watch, bitch.
Yeah.
I stand opposed. I shall not yield. And this none is... You want Passover? Here I am.
Yep. Oh, my God.
Well, that's what you all are. You're all Passover. Take your power, right? What happens during Passover? All the firstborn, the bad thoughts are slain. And I tell you, the whole system is nothing but a bunch of bad thoughts that just need to be gone.
Nice.
Oh, that's exactly it.
Look at the irony of this, guys. Can you imagine? Here's the position you get left with. Okay, with all the people that have crossed you in your life and have thrown knives in you, and you've all been through these. I know you have. This is why you're here. You've went through the fires of your own recreation, right? Now imagine at the end of it, he who laughs last laughs loudest. Imagine at the end of it, you're the one that's sitting at the table. Remember Joseph? When all his brothers came in and they didn't know who he was and they'd sold him into slavery? Right? That's the allegory. This is what, you're all the coat of many colors here. And it was up to Joseph to pass judgment. And what did he do with his brothers? He just fucked with them a little bit. Took their youngest brother Benjamin and said, "Nah, we'll take the." He just fucked with them. That's all he did. And that's what you are in your reality, because you're the one that's going to be the Joseph sitting at the table going, "This should be fun."
Yeah.
Because you know what it is. It's not them. It's the ego. It's anytime I hear this shit, that's all it is. That's why I only listen to the now in the anagogic, and to express my love for each and every one of you of the highest order of the law of truth, magnitude unconditional, bears no words, and it does not even bear a resemblance to a sound. It just is.
Yeah, it is.
This is a beautiful time, guys. This is our creation. We have taken the helm of this entire consciousness back. And I know you know this.
Yeah.
Stay the course. That's all I ask. Stay the course. Truth will set you free. It's the only thing that can, the only thing that will. It's the only thing that builds your bridge. And we together are building that bride for the bridegroom, the Christ consciousness. We are the brides. Mm-hmm. And the bridegroom is already there. I've already said I do. Hope he's cute. Other than that, or she, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's unconditional for me. I don't give a shit. I'm just looking for the pure heart, baby.
Yeah.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And there's not a physical thing about it. That's the joke. Anyway, we're about a minute out here.
Oh my God, Kate.
Yeah, well, you guys held me to the full 3 hours tonight, you bastards. I love you. No early night for the bitch tonight. That's okay. That's okay. I had a feeling tonight was going to go that way anyway, because that was a fairly lengthy little letter. But I figured it was going to be the last one. I might as well throw it. Meat stick physical, or as Jason calls them, meat suits, which is great too. I love that one. You're missing the most obvious. You know, again, let's go back to the funeral concept. When you see a dead body lying in a coffin, how much life is in it? Is it up dancing around, or, oh, wait a minute, the life has left it? That's right. Everything in the physical realm is dead. The only thing that gives it life is you. Just like a car. A car's not going to go until you take that physical meat suit, go into it, sit down, turn the key on. And that's the realm of the horrors of Babylon. That's the realm that the dogs live in, that the vampires live in. It's the only reality they have. They can't create shit. That's a fact. And those of us that were in the unknowing state moving into a more knowing state, because our awareness is rising, we're not buying the literal bullshit anymore. And what's happening is we've separated ourselves, if you want to talk in terms of frequency, we've separated ourselves from that very low-dimensional meat suit with no soul, no spirit entity that is solely dependent, pun intended, upon being able to vampire the energy that they feed on so vehemently. They're disgusting little parasites. And it's quite simple. How did I put it, Ciara, today? If you're not standing in truth, and by definition, you are standing in lies. If you are not for truth or for me, then by definition, you are against me. And that applies to any imbecilic, idiotic, meat stick ego that's walking around caught in the daze and bewilderment of this place. So anyway, I think what I'll do is I will share. And remember, when I write, I'm writing from a very neutral position, and I fight to maintain that. And any sense of emotion that comes up, I look at it very quickly and go, oh, okay, yeah, got it. And just so I can nullify it. Because the intent behind this little note that will be getting sent to them, it will be the last thing they'll ever hear from me. Until they actually have to come to me and say, you know, Kate, you were right. I said, I fucking know I was right. Been right for a long time, and it's not about being right. It's not about needing to be right. It's about simply looking for truth, seeing it, and accepting it. How difficult is it for people to grasp the fucking notion that there was a British High Consulate that told me in voice, face-to-face, and on the phone that any use of the legal name was, in fact, pure fucking fraud? Now have a look at your driver's licenses. Have a look at your fishing permits. Have a look at your mortgages. Have a look at all of the shit of the Babylonian Empire that you are quagmired into, and tell me what part of it isn't fraud. If the name is attached by definition and completely admitted, a British High Consulate, people, a fucking embassy on behalf of entire nations tells you this, and you're going, oh, I wonder if it's fraud or not. That was 3 years ago. That's why Dean Clifford is in a cell right now. He's still playing the conflict game. Oh, I'm calling everybody out tonight. Don't worry about it. You thought I was on fire last night? This is going to be a fucking supernova tonight. That's why these people are in these places. That's why people like Tammy Pepperman need to shut their fucking mouths. Because all they're doing is keeping that whole illusion going that somehow something can be fixed in the legal. No. If thine eye offend thee, pluck it out. It doesn't say stick a Band-Aid on it and hope that it goes away. Because that is not going to happen, people. That's called being at effect. And I do make an ostrich reference in this little note. So how about I just shut up and get on with it? I just wanted to make sure that I was crystalline in my intent of what it is I'm sharing. And this is not even scraping the surface of the bullshit, the sheer and utter backstabbing nature of those, the dearest in my life that I love and still do, claimed and professed to love me? No, they didn't love me. And that includes those that, well, Kate, I'm here to help you out. You can sleep on the floor, but as soon as I'm not their fucking savior, that's when the fangs come out. I'm finally in a place where this is the first time since my own home that I can feel the need to speak freely. Powerful thing, people. It is such a blinding contrast. And those that expected me to be their savior and save their mortgages, enjoy losing your house. Because you didn't listen. The answers are there on my website. I have said that countless times. If you spend the time. And I think now I'm going to get to the point where if someone asks me something about legal, I'm just going to type 2 words in the most loving way. Fuck off. What part of mental retarded system legal nonsense aren't you grasping yet? You don't know who you are. You still got your mitten strings. Oh, someone's going to come and save me. Yeah, no, they're not. That's your job. It's your job to get your little aha moments because you actually got busy learning the truth. You're not buying the bullshit of the religiocosis chosenitis groups, the clergy that are the most dumbed-down fucking retard pedophiles on the planet. Do you know why they have things like Cub Scouts and Sea Cadets and everything else? And so they can put children in a military environment so that they can be fucking raped. How many stories have you heard about it? I'm one of them. But I learned very quickly and very early what I was up against. And these are very instilling moments. You can choose to be the victim, the gripped in time, the vice of time victim, or getting a grip on your reality. That's the vice of the torus field, the toroidal around you. You are the whole universe. Why are you buying this shit? It's time to change your mind, change your heart. This is not a physical process, and I keep drilling this point home, and I'm going to keep drilling it home. This is where you know in your heart of hearts that you break the contract spiritually with it, knowing full well that it is that. We had a perfect example last night with Janet. For those that need to hear it again, listen back. You had another perfect example of it 2 weeks ago tonight, where I was swarmed, only to watch these fucking dogs run away with their tow truck with their tails between their legs, not wondering what fucking hit them. Well, I'll tell you what hit them. A spiritual Mack truck called Truth. And I can only imagine what went over the airwaves. Oh, she says she's Phoenician. Dun, 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 dun. There's a new one. Again, let's plant the seeds. Let's see how long it takes for the system to jump on that one and try to reprogram their little monkey rabbits. Well, if they say they're Phoenician, free men on the... yeah.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yours truly on Friday night, Kate of Gaia, broadcasting from an undisclosed location somewhere in the universe. Isn't that fun? Yeah, well, lots of fun, interesting feedback from last night, and all good. You know, this is part and parcel to the entire awakening program that most of humanity is still wallowing in as they slowly come to out of this anesthetic delusion called physical reality, caught up in the dramas and whatnot and everything else. And I just had Joe on the board there. I see on the board there, Ouija. So I am waiting also for T, who called me on the phone earlier today, now that I know which number she has, she just has had a hard time trying to hit one on, I don't know what it is with these iPhones and whatever else. I don't play in that game. I've got an older BlackBerry, 2008. It's a phone. So, sorry, call me old school. A phone is what I use it for. Isn't that funny, texting and calling people? There's Joe back. Anyway, before we get rolling tonight, in similar, if not stronger fashion than last night, you see, over the last little while, actually a very long while, but I've been coalescing my own things in my own reality as, looking over the experience, which is what the, quote, Christ consciousness, unquote, is all about anyway. People get caught up in the dramas of the emotions and all the rest of it that take an experience to a whole new level of insanity instead of just being of and in the experience. They just get caught in the. I know, I was there. And it's so easy. This world is such a literal mind trap. The vast majority of humanity doesn't realize that walking around with a legal name has them owned lock, stock, and barrel on the soul level, not just the physical. If you agree with something, you're in contract with it. I don't care what it is. If you agree to be part of something, then are you not part of something? And that contract must be broken within self. And that only comes with a bit of diligence, a bit of research, a bit of understanding, and a willingness to realize that you've had your brains duped to such an extreme level. And of course, people will, fight me kicking and screaming. And ironically, as it turns out, it was the ones that were closest in my life, the family and the supposed friends and all of the people that would always turn to me when they needed something because, well, gosh darn, they could count on me. But I got to tell you, as soon as the physical reality started to melt away and I started seeing what was really going on, the control mechanisms that are in place that has you being vampired and werewolved by the vampires of the elite and their dogs, call it military, cops, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. They're all fucking dogs anyway. Woof, woof, go fetch. There you go. Well, what do you expect a dog to do? It chases cars. Fuck. Difference is these dogs have to catch the car and then get you aided and abetted through the Narmer palette called the Flip the Book Open, which is a spell casting book. These people don't understand this. This is the highest order of black magic. This is exactly what the elites fucking spin them out, morons, making excuses for idiocy. I am so finished with that. That which you wish upon others, you have wished upon yourself. Your fucking wish is granted. Enjoy your doom, your silence, your muted, your judgment. Because I have a sneaky suspicion that those of us that are unconditional, well, we're going to be the ones holding the scales now, aren't we? Who do we want playing in our playground, boys and girls? Well, I don't think that one's ready yet. Let them do the merry-go-round one more time. Or 100 or 1,000, whatever the case may be. I've read Revelations 18 out to you guys. And not from that retarded biblical perspective. You all know how I translate things. I bring it into the anagogic. Far and above what these morons, apparently, big boats with animals are real. Apparently donkeys turn around and talk to people beating them. Apparently people can jump inside fishes. People can walk on water. And all of this allegorical display of anagogic. I think the number is 68% of Americans still think that Noah and his ark was fucking real. Now you've got Ruse, Sell, Crow selling the ruse again. The epic Noah's Ark or Noah or whatever the fuck they're calling this shill fest lately. Just to keep reinforcing it. Or for, people like you and me that can look right through this and just laugh our faces off at the lunacy that somehow people believe that there is some guy in the sky with a big beard is a walking hard-on for war, death, murder, raping children, and apparently he loved his son so much he said, fuck you, I'm watching American Idol, I got my Coors Light and my bag of Doritos and my Lazy Boy, you go down and get crucified. Yeah, there's a loving God. And you got people every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I don't care if it's a mosque, a synagogue, or a church, it's all the same fucking bullshit over and over, just told from a slightly different perspective, from the same literal nonsense. Shite doesn't deserve a place in fairy taledom. It's quite boring. Yet, people march their children into Sunday school. Praise Jesus, as Santa would say. They got people walking around, Jews, if you will, JWs. Let's call it what it is. I call you all out. Going door to door selling their watchtower for one of the most pedophilic organizations on the planet, owned and controlled by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Your schooling system was set up by the Rock-Pharaohs, and your money's ruled by the Rothschilds. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. It's an allegory. It's called Change Your Mind, Change Your Heart. And that being said, you got to remember this is coming from the deepest point of me, from the closest, the dearest in my life, the very purpose I followed, to keep them safe. I have never seen so many dust trails, so many knives in my back as this lifetime. And for that, I'm grateful. That's the joke. Thank you so much for showing me such a stark contrast that I can see this. Have been in control of the no lights for so very long. You see, they understand the power of the darkness because that's where the void of creation exists. And they've just been very, very good at manipulating that energy and duping people into the Luciferian light, which is just a higher frequency of sound. Remember, light and sound, the FX are the effect. That's why they're called FX. Effects. Those are the effects of cause, not the creation of it. It's like screaming at the TV screen or the movie screen expecting something to change. Watch the same movie over and over again and keep screaming at it and see if, you get a different director's cut, or is it still the same movie? Well, I tell you, it is the same movie, but as you awaken, you start seeing the real movies that are going on in behind this in a fractal sense. These are the things that you need to look deeper into. And we have been befuddled, we have been hypnotized, anesthetized, dumbed down, and we buy it. We buy it in the most literal sense. I had a great chat earlier today with Jason. It was about an hour and a half or more, and I could talk with Jason for hours on end. And there are a few people out there that I can do that with. And that being said, it's not because of anything other than communicating in the same format, in the same way, with the same intention, where it's less needs to be said because it's already resonating. It's basically a game of table tennis. Here's your thought, and I got your concept, and let me share what I got, and it's, oh yeah, okay, then the ball comes back, and it goes back and forth like this constantly. And it's an evolutionary process. It's not, you're not fighting through all the nonsense, Like I'll go through the fear porn stuff on Before It's News and whatever, and I transmogrify it, I change it, I transmute it. I take the literal intent and recode it into my definition, my sounds, because I know the core essence of me is the silence. That is the dark. In the beginning, God created light. Let's go with the allegory, shall we? Okay, if God created light, where the hell did that come from? Oh, wait a minute. That's right. The dark. Silence of sound. The clearness of the reality, So anyway, I more or less finished that little piece that I was working on that I'll be sending to friends and family. I guess you would pretty much call this a last will and testament of the physical realm, because I got to tell you, and I will be sending the link for this show to them as well, so that they can actually hear my voice and they will actually understand. You see, because whether they listen to it or not, it's fucking irrelevant to me. You can see my ex-wife cringing. Oh no, she said fuck again. Yeah, because I know what it means, dopey. Fa, the heart note. U, of intent. C, of unconditional love. The note of. In spirit, ka, F-U-C-K. But you have charge on the word because you were indoctrinated into it, like we all were. It's like I said, I think I said it last night. I can always tell when that charge hasn't been alleviated within an individual because I can still feel that word. You know, there's many that can say it, and yeah, they get it. It goes right through. And then there's others that say it that kind of go, I can still feel that. So for me, this is an energy game. You know, where people get caught up in the whole myriad of